we look back and get the boys to give us their best Premier League 11s. We'll start with Craig Burley.
Why me?
Because you gave it in first. You submitted it first.
Chronological?
Frank submitted 12 players, so I had to go back and sort that.
Yeah. True.
And Shaka, of course, being Shaka, gave it a lot of thought.
That's right. That's
yeah, we were still waiting on his, as we were going to air.
Therefore, it's
right. What do you want to know?
I want to know your team.
I struggle with the goalkeeper.
Yeah, there wasn't really a standout keeper. Was Emi Martinez?
Yeah, I struggle with that picture as well.
Well,
so
smiling.
I went with Emi Martinez. What camera? I struggle with the goalkeeper, so I went with Martinez.
Yeah,
had a good season. Kyle Walker, I think he was solid when fit. Gabriel, the two Arsenal centre-halves, and then that was quite simple for me. I didn't even really bother about Van Dijk. Then I threw a doggy in, injured at the end of the season, but I thought he was excellent. Midfield for me pretty much picks itself. Rice brilliant, Odegaard brilliant, and Rodri just outstanding. Thought about Bernardo Silva, one or two others. Kevin De Bruyne had a lot of injuries. Phil Foden, everybody's talking about him. Great end of the season. Bukayo Saka, consistency, 16 goals. And Cole Palmer was absolutely out of this world. That's my front three. There's no room in there for any big Norwegians. There's just no room. There's just no room.
That's what's striking.
Where's Jan Agafjotov?
Oh, he's shouting.
He's
down at TV somewhere. Erling Haaland, 27 goals. Part of a winning Manchester City
27
side.
goals for me. It should have been, and it's not always, not to be hypocritical, there's been times I've sat here and said the way they've played at times hasn't been helpful to getting him chances, because the way they've knocked it around and he got frustrated. But I don't think he's been brilliant.
But didn't he? Aren't you comparing him? Aren't you putting him on a pedestal compared to last season?
Yeah.
If this was his first season and he came in and scored 27
what
goals,
I'm doing is,
he'd be in this team, wouldn't he?
Listen, what I asked myself, right? Do I think Manchester City would have still won the league, and they've done this before, without Erling Haaland? I think the answer is yes, right? As good as he can be. Would Arsenal still have been in the title race till the end without Saka? No. Would Chelsea have been sixth without Palmer? No. And Phil Foden, you could argue he was more important than any of them in the second half of the season. So, Erling Haaland is a great striker. I don't think he had a great season. He got a decent amount of goals, a lot of penalties, but a lot of his performances, when City did get him the ball, left a lot to be desired. And so he doesn't make my team. I thought those three in the front were more consistent, had better quality, and had a good quota of goals.
Do you remember when Frank said that Canada were going to make it through to the semi-finals of the World Cup?
Yes.
I think he's trying to one-up that prediction here with his 11 that he's given us, because there are some interesting ambitions. What have you got in your head? And take
what
us
is
through
that?
it.
Oh my God! Where did you get that picture?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
Right, come on, Frank. This is weird.
Whatever. Yeah. You know what? I'm with Craig in terms of goalkeeper, and with Haaland, and I'm going to talk after. But Martinez in goal was for me the only solution, I would say. But I went instead of Walker. I was hesitating. I went for White. I think we didn't talk enough about the efficiency and the consistency of White, and he had a very good season with the Gunners. As long as with Saliba on his side as well. And I wanted to put Van de Ven, because Van de Ven was a real surprise, a very good surprise for Spurs and the Premier League. And I have to say that I didn't know who to put in on the left side. I put Ake because I think Ake was pretty strong, and he did what he had to do when he was playing in that position. I have to say that I have to apologize for not putting Rodri, because I agree with Craig, he's a fantastic player. But there are so many players in the middle of the park that I wanted to put, and not putting the four that I have there would have been also another mistake, because they had a very good season. And at front, I didn't put Haaland because I'm with Craig.
Wait.
I don't know what Haaland would do with.
Wait. Why didn't you put Rodri in?
Yeah. I don't know, because I wanted to celebrate maybe some others and would deserve to be in that team as well, because I think McAllister had a great impact at Liverpool, and he was maybe the only one who showed consistency in that
Frank,
team.
did you just
and that's
forget?
crazy to not
Yeah,
to have
sure.
all
You
of
forgot, didn't you? You forgot Rodri.
No, yeah. At first, yes, but when I put when I put the name down, suddenly Rodri came back, and I say, oh, how come I forgot Rodri?
Yeah.
But who should I, erase from that team
McAllister.
to put Rodri? Yeah, maybe, but maybe. But I love the guy. I love the way he plays, and I want you to give a little bit of Liverpool in the squad, in my team.
Right, okay.
I was
kind to emphasise though the Rodri.
I think Rodri, I think, was his 12th man.
No, Doku was his 12th man.
Hold on. Jeremy Doku.
Yes, he was the 12th man, and he forgot. He didn't realise he picked.
I wanted to put Doku as well. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, he was all right coming off the
Frank, when
bench.
did you make these picks?
Yeah, that's crazy because I put 12 guys because I forgot that I put 4 guys in the middle, and I put Doku because I never thought Doku will go so well for Manchester City, but every time he played or every time he came on, especially at the end of the season, it was the game changer. And but comparing to the others, not putting Haaland, and having to put him away from my 12th name, that was only fair. But he had a hell of a season. You cannot deny that Doku was
the
special
Rodri's
one
a bit,
for Manchester City.
Let's talk about Ollie Watkins over Haaland. That's harsh, isn't it, Frank?
Because because as a striker, sometimes you have to create something on your own in order to score goals. He wasn't able to create for himself. He needed the others. It's why I like Watkins and I like Saka, for example, because those players are able to create on their own chances, and I saw so many technical mistakes from Haaland, and I know Jan is going to be upset with me because he scored 27 goals, but he needs the others, and he's so much served by Doku, Foden, De Bruyne, Rodri, that I wouldn't say it's easy to score 27 goals, but it's easier than any other club.
That's Monday sorted from now on.
What's that?
No more of those stupid top 10 goals.
Right.
Frank Leboeuff's team of the weekend. That's going to...
Team of the weekend. Don't worry, Stevie and Maris used to do it. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
That
That's
back in
right.
the day,
Yeah.
Hold on.
Right.
I think I remember this.
Yeah.
Stevie and Big Paul used
Yes.
to do a team of the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
It was as funny as it sounds.
Paul would get really stressed about it. He goes, I need a right back, Dan. I need a right back. Right then, Shaq. Here we
Now,
go.
I've got a feeling he could... I might be wrong. This, as Frank, as you said, was a little bit left field. I've got a feeling this man...
It's normal. Where's Shaka?
Are you normal?
Yeah.
I don't understand the question.
Did you do this or did Luca do it?
No, I did this. I did this.
Okay.
I'm a little bit surprised that everybody went for Emi Martinez, as I did.
Right.
Van Dijk, I still think Van Dijk best centre back in the league. He gets a nod. Listen, I understand Gabriel had an outstanding season. The two wing backs is where I probably struggled most. I don't feel anybody, either right or left, had that standout season. So I went with Walker on the right, Guardiola, who finished the season strongly. The midfield, yes, I've got Rodri. And then up front, I think that speaks for itself. I went for Watkins over Haaland. I just feel Watkins had such a good season. And while, yes, you could look at Haaland's numbers, I think some of his misses, high-profile misses, kind of took away from what you expect of Erling Haaland. And Ollie Watkins for Aston Villa, absolutely fantastic. So that's my front three.
Not Isaac, Shaq.
Nah, I thought Watkins. Isaac, again, missing a little bit too much because of injury.
He scored 3 more goals.
Yes, missing a little bit too much because of injury.
He got 21 goals, Isaac.
But I
Saka got
thought
16.
Watkins was absolutely incredible through the middle.
You can sell that team. You come in, Frank's...
Well, Frank just forgot. Just forgot some
You can
players.
sell that team. Bear in mind that was
Well, I'm
finished
not
30
too
seconds
far.
before
I'm
we
not
went
too
on.
far. I'm sorry, you're being critical, guys, but I'm not too far from you guys, And except Rodri, we have almost the same names, Oh, whatever. Never again I will give my best 11. Never. You don't
Team
deserve
of the
it.
weekend.
Wait, now.
I still can't get my head around it.
Yeah.
And I think I do remember now Stevie and Paul doing that.
Yeah, they used to do.
Whoever came up with that idea,
I know.
That was great.
That was great.
because to those two that is like,
I don't know the answer to this, and I'm so excited that he's going to say Rodri. Who was your player of the season, Frank?
Rodri! No. The player. What did I say? The player? Oh yeah, no. It's William Saliba for me.
Oh,
Top class
interesting.
player. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with him and Deschamps? Are they going to make up before the tournament starts, Frank?
I don't know what Deschamps wants to do, but for me, there is only one player who was sure to play for France is William Saliba. What he showed this season for the Gunners is exceptional. They almost won the league, and we all know that last season they lost it because he got injured. And as a central defender with his consistency and his calm, his experience, it was on the top for me. So
But
he
does it
deserves
not take
to
away
play
from your argument
every
slightly,
game for
Frank?
France.
Does it not take away from your argument slightly that they didn't win the league? Then surely the player of the season should come from the team that wins it.
Well, no, you know what? It's a collective sport, you know. So some players maybe didn't do the job they had to do to win the league. But it's not because of Saliba that they didn't win it.
Stevie's been on the phone. He said he thinks Núñez should have been up front. And he's still giving him leeway.
Núñez should be there.
Leeway.
You went for Rodri?
Yeah, I thought he would. And
It's close, isn't it, between them?
yeah, both all those guys, and you could put an argument for Odegaard and. I mean, I'll be honest. I wasn't sure about putting him in my team. You'd have to put up a big argument to say who's better at linking the way the game is played these days, which is from the goalkeeper taking risks in their own penalty area, almost all the clubs, to centre-backs to full-backs, and what that needs is midfielders that are going to come and link that up. Because without that, it's pointless playing around the penalty box, and he links it up under pressure as good, if not better, than anybody. And for that, I just think he's a brilliant footballer.
What did Foden do to edge it for you?
I thought Foden in the big moments was best. I thought Phil Foden did everything that was asked of him in that attacking theatre.
Did you see who passed the ball to Foden there? West Ham game?
Doku. There you go. Get him in.
What a season.
Right then. Coach of the season. I imagine everyone's gone for Pep Guardiola, looking at the...
Boring,
yeah. Oh, of course we had this discussion extra time. So you're just being stubborn now?
No, I'm not being stubborn. It's an opinion.
Okay, right.
Nothing.
Frank, you laughed at Frank's opinions.
Oh, yeah.
Well, his opinions are
Okay, he
crazy.
has an opinion. No, we don't have opinion. No, you have opinion and we don't have opinion. We cannot
Shut
have
it, Froggy.
opinion.
Hey, you put Ollie Watkins in your team. Somebody must have done a good job getting the best out. No. It's just opinions. And my opinion is that getting Villa into the Champions League for the first time in, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years, whatever it is, into this competition as it is now. For me, he did more with less. A lot of these guys were playing in the Championship with Aston Villa. They're now going to be playing the Champions League. He took over the mess of the end of Steven Gerrard, and I think he did an utterly brilliant job. Never going to contest the title, although they were up hovering about for a bit. But when you look at the skill set of the whole team and how much they spent, it wasn't a lot. I thought he did, and I get it, Guardiola, and I think Guardiola is the best coach on the planet. And then I think it's Klopp, maybe Ancelotti. You can throw that out there. So if we were talking about who I'd want tomorrow to coach my team, it would be the Spaniard, it would be Guardiola. However, I think this season for me, what he's done after a walloping at St James's Park, match day 1, 5-1, he's done an amazing job. And I think he got a wee bit more out of them, and that's why I've gone for him.
Has Craig convinced you, Frank?
Yeah, I understand what he means, and what he created with the villains and the player that he had in charge is exceptional. But for me, you know, what a coach jobs is to put the player in the best psychological frame of mind to give the best of themselves. And when you won it already 3 times in a row, how are you capable and to do it another time, 4 times in a row, 6 times overall in 7 years, is exceptional. You have to be a masterpiece. And he knows, with all those stars that he has in charge, with all the players who already won so many things, and I was talking about Foden 2 days ago, who already won 6 titles and from 17 years old to 23. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And Guardiola knows exactly what to do with those players. So yes, Unai Emery has done something exceptional, putting the villains in the 4th place. Postecoglou as well, changing the way Tottenham was playing. Yeah, you can say it's a miracle, but the consistency of what Guardiola is capable of giving to Manchester City is something apart from me.
You'd like to add, Shaq?
I'm in agreement with Frank, and yes, I mean, we've had some incredible managers during the course of the season, but I think ultimately, and while winning the league is kind of par for the course of Manchester City at this point, you again have to look at how it was done. The last time Manchester City lose a league game was the first week of December. When that peak time of the season come into the new year and things really kind of get a little bit nervy and you're tempted to get anxious about what's happening and what's to come, that's when I think City and Guardiola are at their best. And for me, again, putting together that kind of run to eclipse Arsenal to the title is deserving of recognition.
Not going to argue any of that, because I accept I can accept everybody's decisions and opinions.
Let's start with the big news for the U.S. men's national team. Greg Berhalter, earlier on Monday, dropping a 27-player list. Now, this is not the final roster for the Copa America, which we know will be a 26-player limit. This is for the friendlies against Colombia and Brazil, which will be played just before the tournament, but still a good indicator. Here's some of the headlines. 18 of the 27 players called in were on the World Cup squad back in 2022. One of the other headlines, the 4 strikers. That's right. Haji Wright, Ricardo Pepi, Folarin Balogun, Josh Sargent, all called into this group. No Brandon Vasquez, Alejandro Zendejas, Zach Steffen, or Walker Zimmerman. A couple of those guys, Vasquez and Zimmerman, talked about as potential overage players for the Olympics. Some MLS guys named as well. You can pick them out there. Timothy Tillman, Shaq Moore, Sean Johnson, and Miles Robinson, the 4 players from Major League Soccer that were called in. For more details, let's hear from the manager himself. Here's Greg Berhalter.
This is a great opportunity for this group to play in the world's most historic soccer tournament that there is. And we're excited about it. We're looking forward to it. You know, it's a different type of soccer that gets played at Copa America. We're looking forward to battling through that. And, you know, it represents a great opportunity for this group. And really evaluating, you know, the load in Copa America, the load in this whole training camp, and figuring out what makes sense for the players. But there are a number of players that we are considering for both the Olympics and Copa America, and we just have to see how the whole thing plays out. Nothing's set in stone.
Herc, do you think they had enough headroom there for Greg Berhalter in that shot?
Like, somebody give him a shout, like you guys work in media, just like tilt the camera down. Jeez.
We're not TV professionals here or anything. All right, let's start with the 4 strikers, because I think that's what grabbed everybody's attention. What do you think of the fact that Greg Berhalter called in 4 strikers out of this 27 that he named for this roster?
Part of me is like, about damn time. Where was this in the World Cup, right? You could have brought in 4 strikers to the World Cup. Maybe you wouldn't have ran into the problems you ran into towards the end. But then there's a part of me that thinks, like, maybe this is circumstantial. And what I mean by that, if you look at the wingers, true wingers, there's not a whole lot of true wingers. Aronson, Pulisic, Timothy Weah, true wingers. If you think about who's healthy up top, Josh Sargent's been battling this ankle injury, this foot injury, pretty much since before the new year. I mean, he played 3 games for Norwich, got injured, and then came back strong. And at the end, the last 2 weeks has been dealing with an injury. So part of me thinks maybe this is due to Greg Berhalter not thinking he's going to have a healthy Josh Sargent throughout this whole process, or enough wingers who have played there. A lot of these nines have experience playing that wing position. In fact, all these nines have experience playing that wing position. So I'm thinking this is more circumstantial than it is Greg Berhalter turning a new leaf. Either way, I love it. Either way, I am here for it. More options is a great thing. You saw what happened in the World Cup. You ran out of 9 options. When you most needed somebody who made sense for a game like the Netherlands, like Louis van Gaal, and the way they attack, the way they press you. Maybe Jesus Ferreira wasn't the appropriate player to play that game, but Josh Sargent was injured. You know, you just didn't have that faith in Haji Wright at the World Cup. Maybe having a different skill set there, like a Ricardo Pepi back then, would have suited you. Now you have that chance. Now you have 4 very, very different profile players who can offer something distinct. And I like it. I like the forward shout. I'm never against more attacking talent.
So the injury for Josh Sargent is, again, that ankle, the same ankle that's seemingly bothered him throughout his career. Greg Berhalter addressed it and said there was some swelling that they were specifically worried about. And this is an injury he had in the first leg, I think it was, of the semifinal of the promotion playoffs. So it's pretty recent there. I think the other big development, Herc, when it comes to these 4 forwards is that Berhalter specifically mentioned Haji Wright and said he sees him as a winger, which to me is the big head scratcher there. Because actually, if I'm looking at that 4, and I'm trying to come up with a pecking order, to me it's Haji Wright and then everybody else, depending on whatever their fitness is, or whatever choice you want to make between Balogun and Pepi. But if I'm going off form, both with club and with the national team, I got to think Haji Wright's number 1 for the pecking order at the number 9, which is the job he ultimately wants. He doesn't want to be languished out to the wing, certainly not out to the left wing where he plays with Coventry, where he's got to compete with Christian Pulisic. So if I'm Haji Wright, I'm starting to think, Greg Berhalter left me off the last roster entirely, right? Had to call me at the airport and beg me to come back. And now he's doing almost everything in his power to not consider me, it seems, for the number 9 job when I've proven I'm the guy. So when I see the 4 strikers, I'm thinking, all right, Haji's the guy, but then you hear Greg Berhalter talking, and maybe that's not the case, Herc.
It's interesting because I look at these 4, as soon as the roster was announced and went 1, 2, 3, 4, and I too found myself putting Haji Wright number 1 for various reasons. Club form, country form, how he last played, the last feeling he gave us with the U.S. men's national team, him saving the U.S. men's national from an embarrassing loss to Jamaica in the Nations League semifinal in the dying minutes in overtime, and all he did to start against Mexico. You started him against Mexico. And then I look at who he left out. Ricardo Pepi was left out of the final against Mexico. It was Haji Wright, then Fowler and Balogun. So when you take into account the club seasons and the form with the national team, I too had Haji Wright penciled in, whether you want to say 1A or 1B, whoever else, he was clearly the top guy there. He was number 1. So when he says this, it gets me thinking in his mind, that's not the case. And when he talks about Haji playing out wide, it's circumstantial. It's only in certain situations where you're chasing the game, where you need a goal, where you want to get 2 forwards on the field. But either way, I agree. I don't think he was thinking about it as, here's my starting 9 in Haji Wright. I think he was thinking about it as Haji Wright is surplus and could be a player to maybe play if something happens to Christian Pulisic or something happens if we're chasing the game.
Right, he's versatile because he has played as a winger, but if you need another winger, call in another winger. Call in somebody like Alejandro Zendejas, call in a Kevin Paredes, call in somebody else that could maybe give you something at that spot. Another spot of interest, Herc, is right back. We know the team's going to be without Serginho Dest, and now we know who might be filling in there. We knew Joe Scally would be a part of this roster. I don't think that a lot of people really truly believe that Shaq Moore would be on the team, the 27-year-old right back for Nashville. What do you make of the choices here to replace Dest at right back?
Yeah, listen, I know Greg Berhalter said it's like for like. I think what he meant by that was not the skill set is like for like, but it's positional.
They're true right backs. True right backs.
Correct. And I think that's what is going down with Shaq Moore. Shaq Moore also has equity here with the U.S. men's national team. A lot of people don't like hearing it, don't like seeing it because it's Major League Soccer, because of whatever phobia they have to Major League Soccer, but Shaq Moore has equity with this team. Greg Berhalter seems to value what he brings to the table enough for him to go to the World Cup, play in the World Cup, and he trusts him in that system. I don't have as much of a problem here because there is still one player who may not play, and he mentions what he can do with that right back position. this is where I have a problem, is what he mentions he can do with that right back position. Is because there's such a gulf in talent between Serginho Dest and the next guy up, next man up when it comes to playing that right back position, that you're resorting to a Timothy Weah, a converted winger to right back that's more of a wing back in a situation. You bring up a Weston McKennie, you bring up a Yunus Musa, players who aren't true right backs. This is why I think you have a Shaq Moore. He may not even use him. He may not even take him there. It could just be to see if in the end, Josh Sargent is healthy and they'll make a decision on a midfielder or that right back position on who comes out. So I don't make that much of a deal when it comes to Shaq Moore per se. But the fact that when you think about the two outside back positions, whether it's Anthony Robinson or Serginho Dest, the massive drop-off that is between them and the next guy up, like unlike any position you have in the U.S. men's national team setup, you can lose certain positions, the right winger, the left winger, the 10, the starting goalkeeper, and I still somewhat feel comfortable at the next guy coming in and doing a job. The guys who are left back, the guys who are right back behind those two have not had a situation where they've been called upon and really been relied upon. That makes me nervous about this right back situation. Serginho's just so intelligent going forward. He's an extra brain in that final third. He's a catalyst to how you build out of the back. He's a true talent going forward, really gives you a leg up against the competition, unlocks those defenses when maybe a Pulisic isn't on, when maybe a Gio isn't on, when maybe the number 9 doesn't have any support. This right back, as crazy as it sounds, has been a key to a lot of that. So that makes me nervous, not the fact that it's Shaq Moore, guy number 26, 27 on the roster right now.
Yeah. I think Joe Scally is a guy who we've seen a lot on this show. He's always involved, assists, some goals over in the Bundesliga. He's making it in running backs. He's been over there at Gladbach for a while. He's been really versatile, but if you really truly think about it, outside of that first season, Herc, when he really burst onto the scene and locked down the spot, he's had trouble locking down a position with Gladbach, and it seems like he's also had trouble kind of convincing Greg Berhalter. To me, that's what I read into the Shaq Moore being called in here. Shaq Moore is a guy who at 27 years old, he's back in MLS now. Like, that's not the profile that I would have thought would have made the U.S. men's national team for a major tournament in 2024. If he's the third guy on the right back depth chart, so be it. But it tells me that Scally hasn't convinced Greg Berhalter, and if Scally hasn't convinced him and Shaq Moore doesn't convince him, then I think we're ending up where you're talking, with one of those other guys filling the void. Probably not going to be McKennie, because he has a way more valuable role. Maybe could be a Musa, but probably most likely of those three, it's going to be Tim Weah, and you just throw somebody else up at right wing, yeah?
Yeah, even though Timothy Weah operates more, or when he has operated more, it's in a 5-back system, 3 center backs, and he's more of a wing back to kind of take advantage of that skill set. But yeah, that's what I think we're looking at, and that's not ideal. Serginho Dest being injured may have hurt this national team more than we realize. And when you bring up Joe Scally, like, he's still very young. He's still very young, a very young player that many could argue has not gotten a full run or a chance with the U.S. men's national team. And that would be something I buy into if my lasting memory of Joe Scally playing wasn't him not doing so against Morocco, him not doing so against Uruguay in the lead up to that World Cup. He has plenty to offer going forward, but he's not giving you his coming out party moment with the U.S. men's national team. And I think that's what you're going with Greg Berhalter, that he's not proven himself yet.
It's a 27-player roster. We know they got to cut it down to 26. I guess they could cut it down to 23, but let's be honest. Why wouldn't you take as many pieces as you could to a major tournament? So who do you think's on the bubble here?
Oh, we got a few guys on the bubble. I mean, Timothy Tillman.
I mean, the obvious one is Timothy Tillman, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that doesn't fit.
Not only does he it's not that he doesn't fit. He's more of a January camp type of guy, and then you test
he's
him
out of place here.
It's
That's
a little
what I mean.
out of place. And I know people would like to dog Alejandro Sendejas, but when I see a guy like Alejandro Sendejas, I see a guy that's been extremely undervalued and maybe still unproven at the national team level, but people forget, or maybe they don't watch. That could be the case. They don't watch enough Liga MX to see how good this guy has been. He's been one of America's best players in this Liga, in these playoffs. He's a guy that plays multiple positions and often not, whether he's on the right or on the left, operates a central role. When he broke out to the scene at Necaxa, he played as a double 6, he played as an 8, he was a goal scorer in midfield, box to box, and he was very good. I think in his heart, he is that central player, and he could have fit in here for a Timothy Tillman. Maybe there's something more in the cards with Alejandro Sendejas when it comes to the Olympic roster, and that's another thing we need to take into account when it comes to these bubble players. There are some head scratchers here, and we don't really think they fit. Well, there's some players who could still be a play for the Olympic team, and I doubt very few players will play both tournaments, if at all there are any players that play both tournaments. That's not really how it works here. So he would have been a great shout. Timothy Tillman's one of those bubble players that, unless he does something spectacular in this camp, unless he really impresses in the lead up to this, if they have to cut somebody, he may be that odd guy out. And another one would also be like, hear me out for a second when I say bubble player. But Ricardo Pepi, to me right now, is a bubble player for this tournament.
I was gonna ask if Josh Sargent's healthy and what you were speculating about earlier is true, you're gonna have to get rid of a forward, right?
You gotta get, if Greg Berhalter wants to get rid of a forward, it pains me to say because I'm a big believer in Ricardo Pepi. When he gets a chance, he produces, but Ricardo Pepi hasn't played a lot at PSV. Ricardo Pepi, when they needed a forward, was the third option for the U.S. men's national team this Nations League behind Haji Wright and Fowler and Balogun. Didn't even come into the game against the Mexican national team. And Ricardo Pepi at PSV, something tells me they're not going to just say, go ahead and play 2 tournaments, regardless of how little they play or how little he plays for PSV. I think it's you got to choose one tournament. So it's either Copa America or the Olympics, and he's still age eligible, It just makes a lot of sense if Ricardo Pepi, if he's not going to see a good amount of time at this Copa America, to be on that Olympic squad, so he could be one of these fringe players.
Interesting. All right, the other position that I saw here that seemed to have a lot of numbers, at least, is center back. Obviously very important, and maybe some of the thought here is you could play with 3 center backs, but do you really need 5? It's Cameron Carter-Vickers, McKenzie, Ream, Chris Richards, Miles Robinson. Do you think you need all 5 of those guys, or could you trim some fat there?
No, I think you need all 5.
Okay.
If what you're thinking about is at some point in time, Timothy Weah as a right back, it's going to be more as a wing back. And he's been playing, when he had played at Lille in that position, or even Juventus, 3 center backs across the line, right? So he's going to be across that right flank doing his thing. Well, you're going to need 3 center backs to start the game. You need some cover. And also, do not forget that Tim Ream hasn't played a whole lot. So what's it going to be like for Tim Ream when he does play in this type of tournament setting at his age? A lot can go wrong. A lot of injuries can happen. I don't have a problem with 5 center backs.
There it is. Greg Berhalter has called in 27 players. Again, not the final list for Copa America. These are for the friendly games ahead of the tournament against Colombia and Brazil. They got to trim it down to 26 when the tournament actually gets underway later this summer.
Hello, and welcome to this very special edition of ESPN FC Live with myself, Alexis Nunes, and I've got our 2 big boys here, Mark Ogden and Rob Dawson, because we're going to talk about England. Gareth Southgate has named his provisional squad, considering we are just less than a month away from the European Championships, and so many headlines to talk about, guys. I bet you can't wait to sink your teeth into this one. We are going to start with the omissions, because of course there are some big names that are going to be missing out in the Euros, and those names are right there, led by Marcus Rashford, Ben Chilwell, no Reece James. A lot of people will be sad about this one, even though we do know his injury woes. He's definitely a player that I'm sure England would always love to have, or so we thought. Jordan Henderson and Raheem Sterling. So, my days, it's almost like, who do I start with first? You know what? Augie, let me start with you first, because you love to be the bearer of bad news. We'll get to Jordan Henderson, because at 33 years old, he's probably realizing that he's closer to the end of his career. But Marcus Rashford, 26 years old, smack dab in the middle of his career. We know it's been probably one of the worst seasons he's had to endure at Manchester United. But still, this is a bit of a surprise, would you think?
Well, it's a surprise because Marcus Rashford, because he's the name and the reputation of Marcus Rashford. You know, he's one of the biggest names at Man United, one of the biggest names in the Premier League. But you know, if it wasn't Marcus, if it was just a player that an ordinary player, look at his stats, you think, well, he's got no chance of being in the England squad. His performances this season have not been up to it. I mean, I just made note of his stats: 8 goals in 42 appearances this season. Now last year was 13.56, and that was his kind of best year in United shirt. He had that fantastic run in the sense of scoring, basically got United in the Champions League last season. But the year before that, he scored 5.32. So Marcus Rashford has had a real kind of up and down in the last 2 or 3 years, and this year he's really got off the boil. He's not happy at Man United. His performance has been poor. His goal scoring has been poor. His awareness of his teammates has been poor. Off the field, he's had a few issues as well. And it's all stacking up to the point where Gareth Southgate's probably thinking he's just not worth the risk. But then again, he's named 12 forwards in his preliminary squad, and he can't even make a list of 12, which is a real indictment of Marcus Rashford, really, because if you had to say name the best 12 English forwards, he would be in it. And a little bit of me is surprised in the sense that I was at Wembley in I think November when Rashford came off the bench and scored against Italy, and it felt like that he was in a happier place with England. I think getting away from United was good for him, but I just think Gareth Southgate looked at the options he's got available and thought he just can't justify having Marcus Rashford, and he simply can't. It's quite sad, but I think really at 26, this is probably a reality check for Rashford. At this stage of his career, he's at a crossroads. Where does he go now? Does he kind of stink without trace? We've seen people like Dele Alli go that way, or does he find something to kickstart his career out at Man United or somewhere else? But it'll hurt him missing out on the Euros. Definitely hurt him, but it has to be a positive, and the positive should be that he's got a summer off. He can rest. He can recuperate. He can get himself focused again, and then go again as a Man United player next season. But there's a lot of big question marks over him on and off the pitch now.
Yeah, well, Gareth Southgate, the England manager, is speaking as we speak, Rob, and he said that, look, these are difficult calls with Marcus. I just feel other players in that area have had better seasons. It's as simple as that. It's hard to argue with him there, but as Augie pointed out, this is a provisional squad. Gareth Southgate is going to cut it down right before the Euros, and just the fact that he's not made it, even though he has endured a tough season, it's a massive blow, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I am a little bit surprised that Marcus isn't in, given that Gareth Southgate has shown time and time again that he's gone back to the players that he trusts. We've seen that in other squads, and I think on those grounds, you perhaps would have expected Marcus to be in, because Marcus has been with Gareth Southgate since he took over as England manager. But Mark is right. When you start looking into his stats in the season he's had, it's hard to justify his place. And you mentioned there that Southgate has said that he's quite well stocked in that same position. He's got players like Cole Palmer, Anthony Gordon, Eze at Palace, who have all had great seasons, and particularly at the end of the season. And at the moment, Marcus Rashford can't even get in Man United's team. He has had a little bit of a spell out of the team because of injury, but he's back now and he's not starting. There's a massive game for Man United at the weekend against City in the FA Cup final. And Marcus Rashford isn't guaranteed to start. In fact, it would be a surprise if he did start. So if he can't get a game for Man United, then why should he be playing for England? I think it's a combination of things. He's had a poor season. There are other players, as Southgate has rightly said, who have had good seasons in that position. Other areas of the squad, I'm sure we'll talk about later, aren't as well stocked as that position. So it's a combination of factors. And ultimately, as Mark said, Marcus has only got himself to blame because if he had a good season, if he'd been on form for Man United, he would be the first name in that squad.
Yeah, it is definitely a massive blow from here, Augie. But do you feel like this? I know you're trying to point out that he probably has the summer off now to do a lot of work. Could this be a blessing in disguise some way, somehow? Because as we keep saying, yes, Jordan Henderson, a big omission, but 33 years old, Marcus Rashford, 26 years old. You surely don't want to think that he is ending what started out as what would have been one of the best England players that we probably would have seen.
Yeah, but something. Some players, they have a good start as kids, and Marcus Rashford burst onto the scene in 2016, and he was the future. But they fade away. And going back over the years, people like Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler, Wayne Rooney, even, you could say that their best days were in the early 20s. By the time they got to the mid to late 20s, their best was behind them, and it's sad to say. But Marcus Rashford could be that same player. But I think the difference with Marcus Rashford to those players is that he's not really had the bad injuries that they had. So there's no reason why he can't go again. And I will kind of have a little bit of sympathy for Marcus Rashford, because I do think that over the years he's had the misfortune of being in a bad Man United team. So that hasn't helped his development. At times he's had to carry that team, the pressure that he's had to be under to do it. And it must be hard. He's a young footballer at the end of the day, and I think as talented as he is, he's probably looked around him at times thinking, these players around me aren't good enough. And at times the coaches haven't been good enough. And I don't think that he's been developed at Man United as he would have been at Man City. Had he gone to Man City under Pep Guardiola, for instance, you'd probably talk about Marcus Rashford as a world beater right now. So there are mitigating factors, but ultimately it's down to him. And I've heard a lot of Marcus Rashford this year off the pitch. You know, he's done these big interviews explaining why certain situations arose and this, that, and the other. He talked too much, really. He needs to get on the pitch and let his football do the talking, but that hasn't been the case for a long time now. And it seems that whenever Marcus Rashford is in the news these days, it's for something that's off the pitch or you know, his reaction. We saw his reaction to fans at the weekend. We've heard him talk about, you know, why he struggled. I do think that Marcus Rashford needs to kind of just focus on the football. He's definitely a talented player. He's got pace. He can score goals, but he just doesn't look happy at Man United, and that has now led to him being omitted from the England squad for a major tournament. So maybe he needs a move, but as Rob will tell you, that he's on a big contract, a long contract. He's probably stuck at Man United because nobody can afford to take him out of it. So if that's the case, he has to knuckle down and just get his career back on track at Man United.
Rob, I know you definitely get close enough to Marcus's camp as well. How do you feel? Obviously, this would be a big disappointment, but as we said, after the season that we've seen, it's almost hard to build a defense here, is it?
Yeah, I mean, he's played in a poor Man United team. I mean, Mark's right that ever since he came through, he's played in a poor Man United team. This season, they've been particularly poor. You know, it's hard for attacking players in particular to play in teams that aren't giving those attacking players the opportunity to show what they can do. So there are mitigating factors. I think probably he has to take responsibility himself for his form. You know, everyone will know that he's had disciplinary problems as well, which are all down to him. That's nothing to do with Man United. That's nothing to do with the team. That's all down to him. You know, that at the very least is not a good look. And I think Mark is right. You know, he is at a little bit of a crossroads now. You know, United have said that their financial position this summer means that they will listen to realistic offers for most of their players. Marcus Rashford is one of those, but he's on a long contract. He only signed a new contract in the summer. He's one of United's highest paid players, probably the highest paid player. And so the list of clubs who could afford to take him are probably limited to around about one, and that's PSG, who at the moment have shown no sign that they are interested in signing him. So in terms of the future, it looks like he's going to stay at Man United. While he's there, he will be a key part of that squad because it's Marcus. He's from Manchester. He's kind of the face of that team. And ultimately now it's up to him to knuckle down and to do the things that he was doing last season, and got him that good run of form after the World Cup and saw him score 30 goals for the first time in his career. The only way that you can spin this as a positive is because he might get a summer off. He has played an awful lot of games for a player who's only 26. He's played a lot of games with injuries. You know, his count will tell you that he went 2 years without playing a game completely injury-free. He's had operations on his shoulder and other operations on his body that haven't helped. You know, really, he has to look at this now as a positive. Go away on a holiday after the FA Cup final, get yourself fully fit, get yourself rested, and when you go back into pre-season training with Man United in the summer, hit the ground running and show people how good you are. Show people you're still that same Marcus Rashford, and that you're not, you know, in the middle of his career that shows signs of tailing off. You need to prove people wrong now.
Let's get to Major League Soccer. Lionel Messi was back in the 11 for Inter Miami over the weekend. Remember, he got a rest against Orlando in their last game, but he wasn't back on the score sheet, Herc. Messi held without a goal or an assist for the second straight game, though Inter Miami did beat DC United 1-0 on this stoppage time goal from Leonardo Campana, who rung the bell right there to beat the black and red. Messi was shut out there in back-to-back games. No goals and no assists for Inter Miami. Is it something, nothing, or everything for the Argentine superstar?
Come on, man. This is nothing. Is this where we're at today? That's how dominant Messi has been, that when he doesn't do something,
yeah, dude,
it is news.
He had 5 assists and a half.
Is that where we're going with this? And by the way, golazo de Leo Campana. Golazo. How about that ball in behind? Was it Busquets that put that ball in? Ridiculous. So Messi doesn't get a goal, doesn't get an assist for what? The second straight game? Yep. This is nothing. What was this game? What was it, like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours that it was a
weather
rain
delay?
Yep. Okay, do you know what it's like to be in a weather delay? Like, I had this situation happen to me one time when I was playing with the U.S. men's national team in Florida. We're playing against Antigua and Barbuda, and I remember we were on the field warming up, about to go out, weather delay. So you're sitting there for like an hour and a half, trying to keep yourself warm, trying to keep yourself just mentally focused. And by the time you go out there, your legs are pretty much gone. Like, your mind is elsewhere, your legs are gone. And I was what, 30? This man's 36. 36. And he didn't look like he missed a beat. Sure, he doesn't score, he doesn't get an assist, but that doesn't mean he didn't play well. I wouldn't freak out about Messi. As long as he is healthy, the fact that he was out there is a positive sign. I'm not worried about back-to-back games with no goals, no assists. If anything, that is a testament to how dominant he has been in Major League Soccer. How weak in competition Major League Soccer has been for Messi. That it is news when he doesn't do anything. We're not there yet. As long as he is healthy, I'll continue to back Messi. My doubts with Messi aren't talents. My doubts with Messi aren't that he still has it. It's, can he stay on the field? Because Messi's worst enemy is Messi. He's gonna always want to play.
So I think these two games actually played out quite differently, despite the fact that he had the same stat line in both. I think Montreal actually did a pretty good job in terms of keeping him out of those danger spots. I think DC United might have just got a little bit lucky. Messi maybe didn't have the final finishing touch on his passes and maybe on some of his assists that could have ended up in goals in this game against the Black and Red. What's interesting here is, Herc, despite the fact that he's getting shut out, they're still winning. They beat Montreal 3-2. They beat DC United. And so if you're a team around MLS, you would take your chances against Inter Miami with Messi not scoring or not getting an assist. And yet, these guys are still pulling out 3 points. So I don't think it bodes well for the rest of the league. What might not bode well for Messi, if I'm thinking, is what it has to do with his international form, right? When we think about Copa America and we think about a guy who needs to be at full tilt for his national team. If you think about Copa America and you really truly think about the favorites, the contenders, it's Argentina and everybody else, right? But it's Argentina and everybody else because we think of Messi as this dominant force. If he's not there, then I think it changes. Then it's a real even tournament. Then I think you don't know who's going to win. But Messi flying at 100%, I think they cakewalk Copa America. I don't really think there's another team that can compete with them.
Oh, no. They don't cakewalk anybody in Copa America. That's never been the case for Argentina. Surely they won it for the first time with Messi.
Who would you have as a favorite over them in this tournament?
Personal favorite or the money makers or the odd makers, I should say?
Who are you taking over Argentina in this tournament? Who in this tournament would you back to beat Argentina right now? Well, you wouldn't back Brazil, would you?
No, but Uruguay, who's already beaten them, you could back them. They already beat Messi and Argentina, in Argentina, by the way. And I may also back Colombia, but that's just me. I feel saucy sometimes.
Really, with Messi dominating, you think Colombia and Uruguay and all these teams?
Don't change the goalpost.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Don't change the goalpost.
If in 2 games he's got a goal and an assist, and this goes 5, 6, 7 games, he stops producing in MLS.
That is different. Hold on, that is different.
That's the point here with Argentina. They are uber reliant on Messi. If his level drops, you have to expect their level drops. And if their level drops, they come back to the pack.
Okay, but you said dominant. You said dominant.
I think there's a huge gap right now between Argentina and the rest of the field in Copa America.
Uruguay literally beat them in Argentina.
World Cup, Herc.
Sepp, Uruguay literally beat them in Argentina. Don't tell me on neutral ground another team couldn't beat them, or that same Uruguayan team with Marcelo Bielsa couldn't beat them. I think you're
overvaluing Messi.
You're riding Messi a bit right now. You're riding the situation a bit.
This is the guy who said he would struggle in MLS, wouldn't win MVP, wouldn't win Golden Boot.
I never said he would struggle in MLS.
Oh, the individual statistics won't be there. 5 assists and a half, buddy.
Yeah. Well, he's got to stay healthy because that's what we're talking about, right? It's his health. And now you're talking about he needs to dominate. No, listen. 11v11, there's never one player to win a game by himself. Even at the World Cup when he was dominant, even then, in that final, we were talking more about Kylian Mbappe and what he did. There's always going to be somebody there to rival you. That's going to be the case with Messi in this tournament. He's not a young guy anymore. He's not that spring chicken. He's still one of the most dominant things I've ever seen on a soccer field. And for my money, the greatest player that's ever lived. But he's 36, a congested schedule, and I think the competition at Copa America isn't just Argentina. That's what I'm saying is I think you are undervaluing, or not giving enough credit to some of the teams out there like Uruguay, like Colombia, who, by the way, is on a 22-game winning streak, or unbeaten streak.
Unbeaten. Yes. Inter Miami, by the way, first in the Eastern Conference, first in MLS on points right now. They've played more games than pretty much everybody else.
Well, let's see
Back him to stay there?
You see the Nicolas Freire, he just did his ACL, the center back, the Argentine center back. And that's been the issue with Inter Miami. And that's the issue when you're in a salary cap league, is that every piece is an important piece. When you invest in these players, these big players, they need to be on the field for you to do well. That's another piece they're going to have missing. And in this summer, when you're not going to have Messi, because you just mentioned it, he'll be at Copa America, and who knows who else you may not have. Maybe the way he's playing, Luis Suarez, maybe he gets called up to the Uruguay national team. Who knows? But no Messi for Inter Miami is a big piece. Now you're missing a center back. It could not bode well for Inter Miami without Messi and some other pieces.
Looks pretty good right now. First place in the Eastern Conference through a little bit more than 1/3 of the MLS campaign.
As we kick things off with the breaking news, Mauricio Pochettino has left Chelsea. This is what Chelsea's statement said. They've just issued this. The sporting director came out and said, on behalf of everyone at Chelsea, we would like to express our gratitude to Mauricio for his service this season. He'll be welcome back to Stamford Bridge anytime, and we wish him all the very best in his future coaching career. This, of course, is a Chelsea side who laboured early on in the season, but in fact, they would finish 6th, which is a 19-point improvement since Pochettino took over. I think it surprised everyone as we welcome in Frank Leboeuf, but we'll start off with James Ollie. James, what the heck's happening?
Well, you say it surprised everyone. I do think, to some extent, the writing was on the wall a little bit here. If you follow this club closely, and you've seen the gradual deterioration in the relationship between the owners and Pochettino in the last sort of 6-8 weeks, I wouldn't say this was a foregone conclusion, but this was an outcome that was starting to look quite likely from the way that Pochettino was speaking. You know, increasingly in public, he was struggling to hide his frustrations with the way that the club was being run. He's not the first manager to feel that way since these owners have taken over. And obviously, the owners' side, they've been frustrated with the lack of progress. They've obviously been this huge outlay on players. They felt that they should be challenging for top 4 minimum, not be scratching around to try and get into the Europa League. And really, I think both sides had kind of, I guess you say this with the benefit of hindsight, but I think both sides had sort of decided where they were at before this end of season sort of flurry of wins, really. It's almost as if those 5 games they won right at the end of the season were just a coda to a decision that had already been made. And the two parties met in London on Monday and Tuesday to discuss the way forward, and I think there was a feeling among the hierarchy at Chelsea that they might look to go in a different direction. And honestly, I think Pochettino had reached a point where he felt like, do you know what, if you guys want to do that, I'm not prepared to fight it long enough and hard enough to stay on. So maybe this is the best thing for all parties, to just cut our losses here.
What was the heart of his frustrations, James? What was really getting under his skin?
Well, look, I mean, there was a lack of public support from the board for the last sort of 2 or 3 months. There was one interview that Todd Bowley gave when he was speaking at one of these financial functions where he talked about the beautiful football that Chelsea were playing of late. But really, I think he was annoyed at the fact that there wasn't that clear vision of where Chelsea were trying to go as a team.
The two sporting directors that have put their name to that statement, where is the angst, discord, where is all this coming from, this sort of separation of the vision of what, you know, Graham Potter and now Pochettino, that's Thomas Tuchel, that's 3 managers. 3 experienced managers, one maybe not quite so much in Graham Potter, but certainly the others are hugely experienced, and they've all gone. But, you know, where's this vision coming from? Because, well, let's be honest, the actual money men behind this, they're pretty clueless when it comes to this sport. They're business people. So then you're hiring sporting directors who I would imagine are fighting over themselves to see who's getting the biggest cake at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It's like one of those contests. So, who's making the decisions? That's what I want to know. Who's going back to the owners and saying, not sure about this one either? It has to be those two, Winstanley and the other guy. And it's all a bit of a mess. I mean, honestly, it's just... they talk about vision. Come on. I mean, don't get me wrong. He wasn't without fault this year, but they did finish strong.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
as James said, he's been throwing things out in press conferences for a few weeks now about his future. But they just don't have a vision. They're stumbling from one manager to the next, and that's...
European trophy and a first senior trophy since the Coppa Italia back in 1963, who will be standing in their way tonight. Giampiero Gasparini's men, they secured Champions League football for next season with a 2-0 win over Lecce at the weekend, which means they can focus all their energy on tonight's final ahead of the last weekend of Serie A fixtures coming up this weekend. Only 3 players survived from that side, but with the 2-0 victory. Those are goalkeeper Juan Musso, Isaac Hayen and striker Gianluca Scamacca. Yeah, so the full team for Atalanta in goal is Musso. Isaac Hayen is joined by the captain Berat Jimsiti and former Arsenal man Said Kolasinac at the back. Davide Zappacosta and Matteo Ruggieri are your wing backs, with Ederson and Tun Koopmeiners in the middle. A front three of Charles de Catalera, Ademola Lookman and Gianluca Scamacca. A Bayer Leverkusen team very shortly, but Atalanta have got us underway at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin. Europa League final live on Flashgo UK. I'm Mark Strange, thanks for joining me this evening. Let's hope we're in for a thrilling game. Atalanta in their traditional blue and black stripes, black shorts and black socks. Bayer Leverkusen, their sheen strip this evening of all white with the red and black flecks on them. Doesn't matter what colour they've worn this year, they have been unbeatable. But Atalanta are on the attack early here down the right hand side with Zappacosta, the former Chelsea man. He gets into the corner. Koopmeiners, and it's out for a throw-in, so it's time to give you the Bayer Leverkusen lineup. Well, they've made some changes. Xabi Alonso, he has the luxury to do so. Their goalkeeper tonight, not their usual one, is their cup goalkeeper, the former Manchester United Youth Academy man, Matej Kovac, is in for Lukas Radecki. Josip Stanisic, the Bayern Munich loanee, is in a back three along with Edmund Tapsoba and the captain Jonathan Tah. In midfield then is Granit Xhaka and Ezekiel Palacios, with the German international Robert Andrich dropping to the bench. Jeremy Frimpong and Piero Hincapié are your wing backs this evening, with a front three of Alex Grimaldo, the mercurial Florian Wirtz, and the line is led by Amin Adli, which means they still have the lethal Victor Boniface on the bench. Here come Bayer Leverkusen forward, well read there though by Kolasinac, and he'll clear left-footed down the right touchline. And it's back with Bayer Leverkusen here now with Palacios. And now Xhaka, the former Arsenal man. Here come Bayer Leverkusen, it's Wirtz. Stanisic getting forward, midway inside the Atalanta half. The ball will break here for Tapsoba. Wirtz, right hand corner of the penalty area now, attacking the end, housing the Atalanta fans. The Bayer Leverkusen fans are in the far end, the smaller end here at the Irish National Stadium. The Ireland manager, current Ireland manager anyway, John O'Shea, he presented a trophy onto the pitch pre-match. A trophy he never actually won as a player. He did win the big one though. Well, big ears as it's called, Champions League with Manchester United. Here's Frimpong now, he's come deep into his own half to get that one. Stanisic, what a year to leave Bayern Munich on loan. He even scored against his parent club, a rarity. Earlier on the season, the 3-0 victory over Bayern, that I think at that point anybody who didn't think Bayer Leverkusen were serious really sat up and took notice after that one. Koopmeiners is forced to clear it midway inside his own half, out for a throw-in under pressure from Palacios. Throw-in taken. That's with Xhaka on halfway. Down the line there's well read by Zappacosta. Now for Scamacca to clear it. Tah gets up above him. Jimsiti, the captain. Tah wearing the captain's armband for Leverkusen tonight. Now Atalanta come away down the right hand side here. Zappacosta into the corner there, followed by Hincapié. Palacios in there too. It's a 2-on-1 in favour of Bayer Leverkusen here, and they come away with it well. Grimaldo now still deep in their own half. Xhaka from the edge of his own box gets away from Ederson. Nice work there from Wirtz. Just a mercurial playmaker, one of, if not Europe's best all season. One to watch at the Euros for sure. Here's Tapsoba, the big Burkina Faso centre half. Stanisic, the Croatian, sends one down the line there. Header won by Adli, but he's clattered by Jimsiti, who's not happy with the referee's decision. We're 3.5 minutes in. I haven't even just our referee. It's Mr. Ispan Kovac from Romania. And you can see there that Jimsiti certainly has his arm in the back of Adli. He claims he won the ball, which he probably did, but he did so by pushing the Moroccan forward. As I say, leads the line tonight with Victor Boniface on the bench, as is Patrick Schick, two players who have stepped up big for Leverkusen at times this season, but then who hasn't, truthfully. This side has been just marvellous from top to bottom. You don't get to win a title unbeaten by not having a team effort. Wirtz with delivery, that's poor for his standards. Midway inside the Atalanta half, it's cleared away all the way back to Xhaka on the halfway line. He pings one back in, quarterback style. Wirtz is going for it. Out came Musso with a Superman dive, all in orange there to punch that one clear. Now Frimpong and Lookman are challenging for it. And it's Jeremy Frimpong, the Dutch international, who has it, trying to go in between the three blue and black shirts there, and eventually he's crowded out, and Ederson will clear from the edge of his own box, or Willie. Adley's getting his toe in there, as is Xhaka, and too much from the Swiss internationals. He brings the Brazilian to the floor just outside his own box. I'm sure he'll be relieved of that one there, Ederson, because he was a little bit of trouble, but we're going to look again here at Juan Musso coming out with two fists, Superman style, to punch away ahead of Amin Adli. Now here's Hayen to Ederson. Atalanta, of course, will not be wanting to beat. There's a ball over the top. They're looking for Lookman, but it's going to travel all the way through to Kovac in luminous green in the Leverkusen goal. Atalanta not looking to be the bridesmaids this season. They were beaten in a final just 7 days ago in Coppa Italia, beaten 1-0 by Juventus. As there's a long ball over the top for Wirtz, and he's got in behind the defence, but Zappacosta is quick and he's going to recover well and send it back to Musso in goal. Who's been sort of flip-flopping in now to the side with Matteo Carnesecchi there, who played in the final last week, and Musso played against Lecce and is back in, much like a similar situation to Kovac and Hradecki. Oh, terrible pass there by Tapsomba. Now here come Atalanta on the edge of the box with to Catalera, but his pass looking for Scamacca is poor and read by Jonathan Tah, but Piero Incape has got himself in some trouble in the corner there with De Catalera, and that's a free kick to Atalanta. The Ecuadorian just needed to get rid of that there instead. From him, he hits it hard and low away by Palacios, and Wirtz, who is part of the wall, will break away and try and clear. He's almost caught out by Jimsiti, but now Xhaka will come away with it for Leverkusen. Midway inside his own half, approaching halfway now. The former Arsenal man, he's over halfway down the left touchline. Nobody in blue and black able to get near to him. That's a dreadful pass, though. He had four white-shirted teammates there, but in the end he only picked out Scamacca. Now Atalanta coming down the left with Lookman, overlapping is Ruggeri. Lookman cuts inside, edge of the box here, still going. Ademola Lookman back out to Ruggeri at the byline, cuts it across, and Scamacca threw himself at it, as did Hincape. Who'd that one come off last? Atalanta looking for the corner, but the referee said the last touch came off the big Italian international. Let's have a look, and it did indeed. He and Piero Hincape both went for that one, an inviting cross from Matteo Ruggeri. Well, sort of pinball up both of them, so in the end I think it was just a benefit of the doubt to the defender in the end. Gianpiero Gasparini not happy with that decision on the touchline. Going for a bit of a casual look this evening, the experienced Atalanta manager in his jeans, his club coat. Not the warmest evening in Dublin. There's been some good late spring, early summer Irish weather as of late, but of course today, the day of the final, it's been dull and wet, and a bit of wild weather further south in the country as Istvan Kovac gives Tun Coke Miners a talking to there. See him barreling through the back of Ezekiel Palacios, just never getting the ball there, Cope Miners. So just a stern talking to and nothing more from our Romanian official. And here's Jonathan Tah on the edge of his own box. He'll be a crucial part of Julian Nagelsmann's Germany squad this summer at the Euros, but he has 2 big games tonight and Saturday before he can think about that. But just, I mean, I know it's been said over and over again, and what a season for Bayer Leverkusen. Just to sit back and think about this here, regardless of how tonight and Saturday night goes, to win your first Bundesliga title is special. To do it unbeaten, the first German side ever to do it. Over a half century of games unbeaten now for Die Werkself under Xabi Alonso. Into only your 3rd ever European final. And then the Pokal final against second tier Kaiserslautern, where they will be expected. They'll be heavy favourites. I think they would have been favourites no matter who they played in that final, but the plucky second division side, who have done superbly well to get to the final, may find their luck runs out there. Here's Cope Miners now to Lookman on the edge of the box. Tapsoba out-muscles him, and away come Leverkusen with Palacios to Frimpong over halfway. He sort of stumbled. And a good challenge there from Sad Kolasinac, the Bosnian, as I said, former Arsenal man who has revived his career in Bergamo after a couple of years in the wilderness with struggling Schalke in Germany. Back in today, the talismanic captain Martin de Roon injured, however named among the subs. We shall see if he's fit enough to come on or if he's required to come on, but he wasn't expected to be in the squad at all, so a bit of a boost for Ladea. Now here comes Ruggeri and Kolasinac down the line, and in the end it's Edmund Tapsoba has to knock it out for a throw. We've played 10 minutes here in Dublin already. Time flies when you're having fun. UEFA Europa League 2024 final. Atalanta 0, Bayer Leverkusen 0 here in Dublin. Mark Strange, your commentator here for Flash Score UK. Glad you could join me. Here's Ederson now to Lookman. Back to Ederson, left hand side, midfield inside Leverkusen half. Good skill to get past Frimpong. He's still chasing Ederson down, but that's going to be a corner kick to Atalanta, the first of the night on 11 minutes, won there by Ederson. And in front of the Leverkusen fans, behind that goal that Matej Kovac is manning. It's an end full of the flags and colour, as anyone who follows the Bundesliga, or Leverkusen in particular, will know. Plenty of noise and colour to be expected from all German supporters. Svan Kovac just making sure he's happy with it in the middle. Lookman's delivery headed away by Xhaka. Back in by Zappacosta, headed down by Kolasinac, back out to Cope Miners on the right hand touchline, in line with the edge of the 18-yard box. Finds Zappacosta in some space in the penalty area. He cuts it across, his behind high, and Lookman gets there. It's 1-0 to Atalanta. The Italians lead here. Ademola Lookman with a goal. He finishes high into the roof of the net. He got in front of Ezekiel Palacios, who I don't think saw him coming. And it's Ladea who lead in Dublin after 12 minutes. Ademola Lookman causes bedlam in the Italians' end here at the Aviva Stadium. Great movement. Palacios never picked him up. It's a super ball in from Davide Zappacosta, and the former Everton and Fulham man Ademola Lookman has fired it into the roof of the net to give Atalanta the lead. It all came from the corner cleared away to Cope Miners. Zappacosta got room in the right hand corner of the box, got all the way to the byline. It was behind Isaac Hayen and Gianluca Scamacca, but Lookman was arriving at the back post, and Ezekiel Palacios, well, I don't know if he didn't see him coming or Lookman's movement was just so good, but he lost his man. And there was Lookman left-footed to put it high into the roof of the net. And Atalanta lead this final in Dublin. But his pass looking for Scamacca is poor and read by Jonathan. I think we have Piero with Bayer Leverkusen. However, Atalanta, you have to say, have a deserved lead here. 13 minutes gone. Ademola Lookman gives them a 1-0 lead. Ball down the left flank for Adli to chase. It's away by Hayen, who was an inch or so away from finishing that one himself, but I'm sure he'll not care. Palacios. Adley and Incape play a 1-2. Back to the captain. Ta in the centre circle. Wirtz to Xhaka. Incape. Right. Leverkusen getting into some passing rhythm here, but being forced backwards by Atalanta, and Ederson has won it back off Granit Xhaka. Now here's Atalanta with De Catalera midway inside the Bayer Leverkusen half. Back to Ederson around 30 yards from goal. Central. Finds the ball in the right corner of the penalty area. Zappacosta. Good challenge on him, and in the end he concedes a free kick on the edge of the Leverkusen box for a foul there on Ezequiel Palacios. He sort of followed through on the Argentinian as he made a good tackle himself. Big goal though, that is, for Atalanta at the start of this Europa League final. Here's Wirtz now, he's been dispossessed by Zappacosta, and free kick given by Istvan Kovac, and Atalanta don't agree with that one, and Bayer Leverkusen have got away with one there. Zappacosta again harrying high up the pitch there. Now he's certainly got a handful of Florian Wirtz's shirt and probably his arm as well, but Wirtz not usually a man to be put off by the intentions of a defender, but he was very lucky there not to get caught out. Jim City heads away now for Atalanta as Bayer Leverkusen enter the Atalanta half. Flicked on there by Adley looking for Frimpong, but Musso will come out of his goal and get to it first and immediately bowls it out to Ruggeri on the left touchline, midway inside Leverkusen half. Terrible touch by Ruggeri, invites Stanisic onto it, and he wins it back. Now here's Leverkusen on the attack, ball in behind for Adley in the edge of the box, bobbles around, Kolasinac in the end hooks it away. Good clearance from him. Ederson though sends it forward. Lookman now on the left hand touchline for Ruggeri, down the line there. Looking for Ederson, and Tapsoba had to be quick there just to side foot that one into touch. Xabi Alonso certainly will not be panicking. Plenty of occasions this year he's seen his side go behind. They scored 17 stoppage time goals this year, and incredibly 8 of those 17, so almost 50%, have helped to preserve an unbeaten record. Most recently in the semi-final, of course, where they led Roma 2-0 from the first leg at the Olimpico, and then fell 2-0 down at home, only for 2 late goals. Not only one would be enough to progress, but the 2 to keep the unbeaten run going. As Coke Miners has a hold of Xhaka's shirt, advantage played by the referee, though down the right touchline now to Stanisic. Back to Palacios. Now Ta right on the centre spot. He's out left to Hincape, a lateral pass to the Ecuadorian. And back to Ta. Tapsoba. Atalanta's high pressing, forcing Bayer Leverkusen back. Oh dear, and a terrible pass there, and that's a free kick to Atalanta, because that terrible pass forced Piero Hincape to slide in on Charles de Catalera, and he caught him, and the referee is going to have a word with Piero Hincape. Not helped there at all by a dreadful pass, I believe it was from Granit Xhaka into his path, and 17 minutes gone, and certainly Bayer Leverkusen not looking overly comfortable, but as I say, you'd be a fool to write them off. Free kick taken short by Coke Miners, back to Berat Jimsiti, his captain. Here he is, gets it back again. Back to Hayen, the Swedish centre half, out to Kolasinac on the left touchline near halfway. Lookman overruns that one though, and it's a throw in right in front of his manager, Giampiero Gasparini, who celebrated with massive vigour after that goal went in, as did his whole bench, and the far end of the stadium here in Dublin. Here's Adley, De Wirtz in the centre circle. Stanisic immediately surrounded by 2 blue and black shirts, but he does well to get rid. Now Tapsoba down the line looking for Frimpong, and behind he's fast. Jeremy Frimpong cuts it back, it's behind everybody. And the effort in the end from Grimaldo, he couldn't get the shot away. It comes back to Stanisic, hits one deflected, and that softened the blow and into the gloves of Juan Musso, who will lie down on the ball there. And Alex Grimaldo, we haven't really heard much from the Spaniard so far. He had an effort there for Stanisic's cutback and just couldn't get his feet right, and it didn't get the shot away at all. Apologies from Frimpong's cutback in the end it was. Stanisic it was who had the effort deflected into the gloves of Juan Musso. But now at the other end, Atalanta on the attack with Scamacca, but Ta deals them well. That's going to be a great battle all night long between two big physical presences. Cape wins a throw-in off Coke Miners on the left-hand side, midway inside his own half. Throw-in taken, and Palacios again dawdling, but Wirtz bails him out, but a poor pass is given away to Hyen. And now Scamacca to Lookman on the edge of the box, overlapping run from Ruggeri, goes back to Scamacca, left-footed over the top. He claims a deflection, but there was none. And that's a goal kick as we approach 20 minutes at the Vivo Stadium. Atalanta, certainly no fear in them. They are not letting Leverkusen's prior this season scare them. Wirtz with a flick on there, but he gives away to Hyen. I'm not sure who he was looking for, but in the end it's intercepted by Tapsoba. Now Stanisic midway inside his own half. Palacios, good ball down the middle for Adli. He's outnumbered, but he'll hold it up well and invites Tapsoba to come forward, which he does. Takes it off the toes of Jeremy Frimpong, still going. Good challenge from Ederson, and he diverts it back into his goalkeeper's gloves from all of 30 yards. So it's certainly fair to say that Xabi Alonso's men not quite clicking so far in these opening 20 minutes, and Atalanta have taken advantage. Ademola Lookman with the goal on 12 minutes, the difference between the sides. He got in the end of Davide Zappacosta's cutback, snuck in front of Ezequiel Palacios and slammed the left-footed shot into the roof of the net. But as I say, right off this Bayer Leverkusen team at your peril. Throw in there to Atalanta on the right hand side, which De Catalera sends back to Zappacosta. Now Hyen goes back to the edge of his own box for Musso. He calmly strokes one forward right footed. Good take on the chest from Lookman on halfway. Back to Ederson, who looks up and clips one out onto the right hand touchline for Jim City. Hyen to Kolasinac, left hand side, midway inside his own half, forward to Lookman, who chests one down, but Gasparini on the sideline looks exasperated, but in the end Jeremy Frimpong can't control the pass from Ezequiel Palacios, and that's a throw in to Atalanta on the left hand side, midway inside their own half. This is the second time the Aviva Stadium has hosted a Europa League final. It also hosted the 2011 final, which was an all Portuguese affair between Porto and Braga, won 1-0 that night by Porto. And there's barely an empty seat in the place tonight. Adli looked like he was caught there by Isaac Hyen on halfway. He was, says Istvan Kovac, and it's a free kick to Bayer Leverkusen. Maybe they'll just be looking at an opportunity just to settle things down a little bit. They have not had things their own way, that's for sure. Palacios to Xhaka, nice ball to Wirtz. Back to Palacios, midway inside Atalanta half. Looked like he was fouled. He was. And free kick it is to Bayer Leverkusen. There's the first card of the night, and we said a moment ago Istvan Kovac spoke to Berat Jimsiti, the Atalanta captain, about his challenge, and that was clearly his one warning as he was into the book here after just 22 minutes. He just caught the toe of Ezequiel Palacios as he nicked his pass away to Amin Adli. Xabi Alonso on the bench just looking for a little bit more impetus from his side, a bit more pace, a bit more oomph behind things. But they have a free kick here that has blue and black shirts and white shirts lined up on the edge of the Atalanta box. It's going to be roughly right of centre, about 30 to 35 yards out from goal. Florian Wirtz is one of the men standing over, as is Grimaldo. In the end, Grimaldo plays it short to Xhaka Latry, who pings one diagonal, looking for Wirtz over his head and out for a goal kick. And, well, that training ground move does not pan out for Bayer Leverkusen. And the first real threatening set piece goes for nothing as we get a look at the goal again from Ademola Lookman. Not one that Ezequiel Palacios will want to see again. The cutback from Davide Zappacosta was behind Isaac Hyen and Gianluca Scamacca, and it looked like Bayer Leverkusen would deal with it, but Palacios caught out, ball watching, didn't see Lookman creeping in behind him, On the side of former Everton and Fulham man. Striking left-footed into the roof of the net. To give the boys from Bergamo the lead that they still hold here on 23.5 minutes. Mark Strange with you here for Flash Score UK as Granit Xhaka skips past Isaac Hayen. It's Atalanta 1, Bayer Leverkusen 0. Xabi Alonso's Invincibles are behind. Ta now on the edge of his own box to Tapsoba. Ball down the right hand touchline in for Frimpong, but well dealt with there by Kolasinac. Kept in by Stanisic, but now Ruggeri has it left hand side right on halfway. Lookman back to Ederson. Now Ta. So now forward to Jim City for Atalanta. Cope Miners. Good challenge from Hincapié to win it back off to Catalera. Now Palacios has it on halfway, but Atalanta's pressing is causing Bayer Leverkusen trouble, that's for sure. Tapsoba now inside his own half, plays one straight up the middle for Adli, who appeared to be bundled over Isaac Hayen, but not so, says the referee, and Atalanta go on the attack to Catalera, right hand side, midway inside Leverkusen half. Zappacosta going ahead of him, but De Catalera ignores him, much to the Italian international's frustration. It's back now with Ederson. Ruggeri, left touchline, approaching the penalty area now, doubles back and gives it to Lookman. Ademola Lookman gets a right foot delivery in, looped up in the air by Stanisic. Kovac calls off Tapsoba to claim that one out of the Dublin Evening Sky. And he sends it forward. Adli. And Lookman cuts inside on his right foot past Xhaka and he hits one into the corner. Ademola Lookman again. The second goal of the evening for the Nigerian international on 25 minutes. It's Atalanta 2, Bayer Leverkusen 0. A screamer from the edge of the box that Matej Kovac never got near, and he has doubled Atalanta's lead with his second of the night. And is this going to be one of those finals that was remembered as the Ademola Lookman final? Kovac with a long ball forward. Adli couldn't hold on to it, and it came back to Lookman. Nobody in white really closed him down. He jinked inside Granit Xhaka, got a shot away before Edmund Tapsoba could get near to him, and he rifles it into the bottom corner from the edge of the box. Talk about the postage stamp. There is no way that Matej Kovac is getting anywhere near that. A beautiful right-footed strike into the corner, and Ladea are in dreamland. It is 2-0 to the boys from Bergamo, and what a start to this final for Atalanta. They were stung last week by that Coppa Italia defeat. They don't want to be the bridesmaids twice in a week, and Ademola Lookman doubles his tally in this season's Europa League in one evening. What a game he is having. What a start for Atalanta. 26 minutes gone. Atalanta 2, Bayer Leverkusen 0. And as I said earlier, it still stands right off Leverkusen at your peril, but they are massively behind the 8 ball here. They have started really slowly, and Atalanta have punished them. They're coming forward again. They had looked like a foul from Tapsoba on Lookman, but nothing doing, says Istvan Kovac. And now it's back at the feet of Matej Kovac, who, well, his ball forward to Amin Adli wasn't great, but there was plenty of opportunities to stop Ademola Lookman before he got that shot away. But once he did, there was no hope for the Czech goalkeeper for Bayer Leverkusen. Now here they come with Xhaka on the ball. 1-2 with Adli on halfway. Hincapié on the left touchline. A tight 1-2 with Grimaldo, and it goes back to Ta midway inside his own half. Wirtz. Xhaka. Tapsoba now under pressure from Lookman, and Bayer Leverkusen they are not being allowed to play their game. Incessant pressing from Atalanta. Wirtz forward looking for Frimpong, but Ruggeri is quick and he will steer it back to Musso on the edge of his own box. Musso clears under pressure from Adli. Tapsoba heads it back. Adli knows he's offside, so he leaves it, and Jim City will nod it back to Musso. My goodness me, what a final so far for Atalanta, for Giampiero Gasparini and for Ademola Lookman. A wonderful double from the Nigerian international. Has his men 2-0 up and dreaming of a first major title since 1963 and a first ever European title. But here come Leverkusen. Frimpong hooks one forward for Wirtz, well dealt with by Jim City. But Stanisic gets in ahead of Ederson. Xhaka hits one from range. Terrible. Blocked though by Ederson. And Stanisic will pick it up on the right hand side, midway inside the Atalanta half. Tapsoba to Xhaka. Back to Tapsoba. Xhaka. Oh, nice turn from Frimpong to get away from Kolasinac. He squares it high and gets out before Adli. But was Adli clipped there by Kolasinac as he came in to try and clear? The Moroccan seems to think so. Istvan Kovac says no. Let's have another look at it here. Frimpong, a good turn to get away from Kolasinac in the first place. High-end intercepted the cross. And it just looks like a bit of a, almost like Adli collided with Kolasinac more than the other way around. The Moroccan helped to his feet by Zappacosta and Musso with some, let's just say, words of encouragement to get back to his feet. Nothing doing as Xabi Alonso sits on the bench discussing what is going wrong with his assistants. Like I said, they were 2-0 down against Roma in the semi-finals with 8 minutes to go and came back to draw 2-2. They were also 2-1 down in the last 16 against Karabakh, came back to win 3-2 with 2 stoppage time goals. So they will not be panicking being 2-0 down after half an hour. They know there's plenty left in this game, but they need to get going because Atalanta are in danger of pulling away. Here's Lookman in the centre circle. Lookman is bundled down by Tapsoba. He was, says the referee, he was in close proximity. And a free kick to Atalanta in the centre circle inside the Bayer Leverkusen half. Kolasinac on halfway to Ruggeri. He goes back to Ederson midway inside his own half, who will ping one forward, right-footed crossfield ball to Zappacosta, who wins the header there above Grimaldo and gives De Catalera something to chase, and Cape beats him to it, but now the two of them are into the corner together and De Catalera comes out with it. Cope Miner scoops it over the top for Zappacosta, who's into the box. Grimaldo has to be careful. Zappacosta's still going, it won't drop for Scamacca, and Tapsoba stabs it away desperately. And now here come Leverkusen on the attack. Xhaka looking up the middle for both Wirtz and Frimpong, but headed away by Jim City. Now Lookman down the left hand side into the Bayer Leverkusen half and approaching the penalty area. Back to Scamacca, who turns and hits one, but an easy save that time for Kovac, and Scamacca holds up an apologetic hand. He probably knew there were better options. A daisy cutter in the end that Kovac could have saved with his eyes closed, truthfully. Those black and red flags behind Matej Kovac's goal haven't stopped waving despite the scoreline. These Leverkusen fans know better than that, but that's dreadful. Really poor from Palacios, putting in Cape under pressure on his own goal line, and he has to slice it out for a throw-in. Really poor. And it's Zappacosta who will take the throw-in. He's got his undershirt on. He and Florian Wirtz are the only two I've seen so far. And Lookman. And it comes and away by Stanisic. All the way to Kolasinac midway inside the Bayer Leverkusen half. Onto the touchline for Ruggeri. Ruggeri back in to Ederson. He'll go back to Hyen in the centre circle. Now Jim City on the right touchline midway inside the Leverkusen half. Back to Cope Miners. Under pressure there from Xhaka, but he gets it to Hyen, who goes back to Musso on the edge of his own box, and he will boom one forward right-footed. Scamacca and Ta grappling. Scamacca actually won the header, but he flicked it on to nobody in the end, and Tapsoba can sort that one on the edge of his own box. Xhaka to Frimpong, but intercepted. And it's back with Musso again. We've just over 10 minutes plus stoppage time left at the end of this first half. Atalanta 2, Bayer Leverkusen 0 in the 2024 UEFA Europa League final here in Dublin. Mark Strange with you on Flash Score UK, and Ademola Lookman double as Ladea 2-0 up over Die Werkself here. Frimpong furthest man forward for Leverkusen on halfway. Looked he was tripped, but advantage played as Palacios comes steaming on that one and runs up the middle, and oh, that's a free kick given against Frimpong. as he collided with his Dutch international teammate Koopmeiners there. Initially, the advantage was played in his favour, but it feels like he and Koopmeiners more just sort of walked into each other's path, but Frimpong was certainly fouled by Kolasinac, who had a nip at his ankles, but Istvan Kovac, our referee, so this is a free kick in favour of the Italians, who are in dreamland here at 2-0 up. Bayer Leverkusen not firing here at all, but still plenty of time for them to get back into this one. Wirtz, ball over the top from Palacios to Grimaldo. Musso's come away with his goal, and in the end I think they'll put Grimaldo off as he tried to chip him, but in the end just gently passed it into the Argentinian's chest. My goodness me, Juan Musso. There must have been hearts in Atalanta mouths there, but in the end it worked as a sort of mind game because Grimaldo didn't see him coming until the last moment, and he tried to chip him and that didn't work. And now there's going to be a second booking. Oh, it's going to go to Florian Wirtz. Well, I'm not sure if that was for a challenge or for something he said. I believe it was for something he said, and well, the referee laying down a marker there because the yellow for the tackle has actually gone to Gianluca Scamacca for a robust challenge in the centre circle, but Florian Wirtz was right into the referee immediately afterwards. It's a sliding challenge on Amin Adli, the two strikers coming together in the centre circle. It's not good from Scamacca, worthy of at least a yellow, if not more, but Florian Wirtz was straight in on the referee's ear to let him know. And Istvan Kovac, our Romanian official, said, I don't need to hear you, you don't need to tell me, I know it's a booking, so here, have one yourself. There's Ta now, free kick taken for Leverkusen. Tapsoba, heavy touch, almost invited Lukman on, but he wins it and Stanisic sends it on. Here's Wirtz now, over halfway, he just has not been able to get going, Florian Wirtz, and that yellow card is probably a symptom of his frustrations in the opening 35 minutes here, but he needs to be careful, his team need him. Now he's walking a tightrope for the rest of the game. Tapsoba now with the ball midway inside his own half. Right hand side, slightly forward to Stanisic. Palacios to Wirtz on halfway. Ball inside to Frimpong, who is barreled over by Kolasinac. That's to be something that Atalanta will need to watch going forward, is their discipline. They're giving away some silly fouls. They already have Jim City and Scamacca on a booking. Here's Nkape, left corner of the box of Wirtz. Out in that left touchline is Adli. Xhaka scoops one over the top for Wirtz. He's in behind here. Musso comes out and he beats Wirtz to it. He just couldn't get Xhaka's pass under control, but that's more like it from Bayer Leverkusen. Almost clicked into place there, but Xhaka's ball just a little bit too long for Wirtz. In fact, it actually clipped off Wirtz's chest on the way through, and that actually took it away from him and into the gloves of Musso, who come out to get it before Wirtz. Long ball forward, there's Scamacca beating Ta to another header, but he's looking at his teammates saying, run beyond me, you know I'm going to win those headers. But none of them have so far, and into the glove of Mate Kovac. And he gets it back from Ta. Right to Nkape, and Bayer Leverkusen will need to start soon here. And there's a foul by Zappacosta on Adli, who's dropping deep. And now Frimpong has been sent through the middle. Blue and black shirts in his way. Kolasinac, good challenge. And it's a corner to Bayer Leverkusen, their first of the game. That's more like it though from Bayer Leverkusen, but Kolasinac equal to Jeremy Frimpong there. It's going to be a corner kick. It's going to be, I believe it looks like a left-footed outswinger. Is indeed from Alex Grimaldo. In it comes, poor, headed away by Ederson at the front post, and Frimpong is furthest man back near the centre circle to go and get it. Nkape now will ping one back in there looking for Ta, and a good header one there by Ruggeri above big Jonathan Ta, and then Ruggeri, excellent work there as he and Ta went shoulder to shoulder, but Ruggeri slid that one into touch. And it's Stanisic right hand side, midway inside the Atalanta half. Palacios immediately points upon by Koopmeiners, so he lays it off short to Xhaka. Wirtz now, good sliding tackle by Ederson, and it's broke for De Cavallera, and he'll go over halfway. It's 2-on-4 with white shirts outnumbering blue and black. In it comes Scamacca, edge of the box. He tries to roll away from Ta, but in doing so he invited a challenge from Palacios, who wins it back. And again Scamacca is looking round and going, where is my help? He's not quite cutting an isolated figure up there, but that's a couple of times now where either he's won ahead or he's held the ball up and support hasn't really been forthcoming. But whenever Ademola Lookman is doing what he's done tonight, I think Scamacca can have too much complaints there. Leverkusen now, who are risky on the edge of their own box, but Wirtz gets it away. Frimpong battling with Ederson, but it comes to Kolasinac on halfway, now on the left touchline for Lookman. Oh, good challenge on him by Adli, who came back to help out defensively. Now Xhaka down the right hand side. Frimpong's fast, but not that fast. Ball far too heavy from Xhaka, and it's out for a throw in on the right hand side, midway inside the Atalanta half. And we're getting into the last 5 minutes here of normal time at the end of the first half of this Europa League final. One that was supposed to be part 2 of the Invincible treble for Bayer Leverkusen. And so far, they have not looked like doing that. But this is a Bayer Leverkusen team when it is not over until it is quite literally over. And I'm sure Xabi Alonso will have plenty to say in the dressing room at half time. We still have 5 minutes plus any stoppage time until he gets his chance to speak to his team. What can they do before then? Here's Nkape, left hand side just inside the Atalanta half, back to Xhaka. Now Wirtz on halfway. Xhaka again, left footed ball down the left touchline there, well read by Zappacosta, kept in by Adli. Back to Xhaka near halfway. Xhaka under pressure from Cope Miners. Grimaldo, good challenge from De Catalera on Adli to win a throw in for Atalanta. There seems to be a second ball on the pitch as one is bounced back on, but that's quickly dealt with and play continues. Now Wirtz in the centre circle. Back to Ta, now Tapsoba on halfway right hand side. Further forward down the right flank to Frimpong, but he's forced backwards by Ruggeri, and Tapsoba will go back to Ta. Bayer Leverkusen are being forced backwards every time by Atalanta. Now it's back with Piero Nkape on the edge of his own box. Xhaka, poor pass, but Adli is quick enough to beat Kolasinac to it. But there's a first time ball for Frimpong to chase down the middle, and he gets to it. Can he beat Ruggeri? Frimpong, now Zappacosta coming across, and Frimpong's been pushed under the left corner of the penalty area. Back to Grimaldo. Good skill to beat Zappacosta. Alex Grimaldo back to Frimpong. He runs into De Catalera, and the ball rebounds away for Atalanta to clear all the way down where Ta is going to have to beat Scamacca to it, and he does, and rolls it back to Kovac. And he gets going again with Nkape. Now Xhaka, Palacios, in the centre circle. Plenty of blue and black shirts in front of him. He plays it out left. Now to Grimaldo, and Wirtz, who has not been able to work his magic on this game. Xhaka, ball down the line to Wirtz. He cuts inside now, midway inside the Atalanta half. Good ball, oh, it's just too long for Palacios, and well read by Kolasinac. And now here come Atalanta on the break. Now not many blue and black forward. Scamacca and Lookman only ones, but Scamacca with a banana pass out on the right hand side of his foot to De Catalera on the right hand corner of the penalty area. Charles De Catalera on his left foot, and Kovac gets down to save well. He had to. That was a rasping drive from Charles De Catalera, who was afforded way too much time, and then Cope Miners thought he'd won it back, but the referee says that's a foul. But a good save there from Mate Kovac to keep this one at 2-0. Good work from Charles De Catalera. Piero Nkape slipped at the wrong time and gave him a chance. Well, left footed strike hard and low, and the Czech goalkeeper got down to win it. And I think seeing that one again, the foul from Cope Miners on Grimaldo is harsh to say the least, but it's now Leverkusen attack down the left with Adli. He looked for Frimpong, who isn't happy with that, and also isn't happy, I think, with the attentions of Matteo Ruggeri in the middle. So if you look to the bench tonight for Bayer Leverkusen, there's certainly options there. Robert Andrich, the German international midfielder. Victor Boniface is there. Borja Iglesias, Patrick Schick, Nathan Tella, all attacking options on there. As Ederson is down here now, I think he's been bumped into slightly. He's lying on his back in the middle of the park. Let's see what's happened there. Oh, he's went for the header above Ezekiel Palacios. Yep, that's a sore one. He's just landed sort of on the small of his back. And, well, we're now getting a look at Ademola Lookman. What a 45 minutes he has had. And the Atalanta fans are in dreamland here. His first, a good finish from Zappacosta's cutback where Palacios fell asleep and lost his man. The second, well, what a beautiful goal it was. Cut inside, Xhaka on the edge of the box, made some space for himself, and bang, into the bottom corner. Past Matej Kovac. It's 2-0 now. We've get back underway here. Throw in, taken by Ruggeri, looking for Scamacca. One back though by Stanisic. As Ederson is back on his feet and will soon return to play. In the meantime, Xhaka will take out the middle. Ederson is back on the pitch now as Xhaka is into the centre circle. 4-14 Kape, he's getting forward now. Atalanta doing some serious running, and your only concern is it sustainable into the second half? We shall see. Leverkusen, that's certainly not sustainable for them. Granit Xhaka with the ball to nobody, that runs into the grateful gloves of Juan Musso, and well, this has not been vintage Bayer Leverkusen this first 45, that's for sure, but they've already done this against Italian opposition this year. The semi-final second leg at home to Roma, they were 2-0 down on 82 minutes, and even though one goal would be enough to see them through, they kept the unbeaten run going with 2 late goals to draw 2-2. And we're into 2 minutes of added time here now as Zappacosta overruns one on the left hand side, and it's a throw into Leverkusen midway inside the Atalanta half. Xhaka. Grimaldo, nice 1-2 with Wirtz, keeps it in the left hand side, in line with the edge of the penalty area. Now Alex Grimaldo clips one in there to nobody in particular, but the clearing header only comes to Adli, but Ederson can get in and hacks clear. Only as far there was Granit Xhaka, who's going to tee up a shot. Ooh, and that had Musso scrambling. That's close from Granit Xhaka. Juan Musso gives a wink as if to say, I had it covered. I'm not sure he did. It was a dipping effort from range there from Granit Xhaka. Well, perhaps Musso did have it covered, but he certainly had Atalanta's Argentinian goalkeeper scrambling there, Granit Xhaka. But I think if you're Atalanta, and really that's the closest Bayer Leverkusen have come, if you'd have told them you'd be 2-0 up, and that's the closest Leverkusen would come, would be a long-range effort in stoppage time, I think they'd take that. The Leverkusen fans still making loads of noise here inside the Aviva Stadium. Captain Berat Jimsiti and Isaac Hayen. They're now joined by Giorgio Scalvini in the back three, not Kolasinac. Davide Zappacosta, Matteo Ruggeri, the wing backs, Ederson and Toon Koopmeiners in the middle, Charles de Catalera. And the man of the moment, Ademola Lookman, his double. There up front, along with Gianluca Scamacca. And now for Bayer Leverkusen, Mate Kovac in goal. It's a back three now of what looks like Piero Hincapié, the captain Jonathan Tah, and Edmund Tapsoba. With Granit Xhaka, Ezekiel Palacios, and Alex Grimaldo in midfield. And then it'll be Jeremy Frimpong, Florian Wirtz, Amin Adli, all in support now of Victor Boniface. So 3 minutes into the second half, and it's a throw in now to Atalanta on the right hand side. Davide Zappacosta, former Chelsea man, will take it in front of his manager, already being told to hurry along by our Romanian official, Svan Kovac. Surely he couldn't be doing any time wasting now on 48 minutes, but every second counts, I suppose. Atalanta here in this final. Well, they got through a group. Lookman coming forward on the left here, more than that in a second. Lookman left corner of the penalty area, still going on a hat-trick. Lookman cuts it back for De Catalera. Hincapié gets it away, and Leverkusen come away with Florian Wirtz. Referee falls over, but play continues, and Wirtz being held back by Ederson. Advantage played though as Wirtz keeps going, eventually robbed by Koopmeiners, and the referee says advantage over, much to Florian Wirtz's frustration, but he has to be careful. He's already on a booking for some talking to the referee in the first half. Koopmeiners are crossing, Hincapié gets there with De Catalera lurking behind him. A crucial interception from Piero Hincapié as the ball across from Koopmeiners got past Jonathan Tah. Scamacca was there, but had Hincapié not got to that one, Charles de Catalera is tapping into an empty net at the back post, and he knows it. He's ahead in hands. What an interception by Hincapié, and what a huge moment that could have been in this final. A final, as I said, that Atalanta got to. They were in a group. They defeated Raków Częstochowa, the Polish champions, home and away. A win and a draw with Sporting, and a win and a draw with Sturm Graz before they met Sporting again in the last 16. Again, a win and a draw, enough to send them through. We're in that famous night at Anfield in the quarterfinals. A 3-0 win. Liverpool's heaviest ever home European defeat meant the 1-0 defeat in Bergamo didn't matter. A lot of Liverpool fans, we thought they would be here. Corner coming in, headed away by Boniface back there, doing some good defensive work. Lookman, now Jimsiti in space on the left hand side, cross blocked by Boniface again, and Palacios will clear now Wirtz. Say many Liverpool fans probably thought they would be here. Many of them may actually be here tonight. Not seeing their side though, but now here's Frimpong. He is pacey down the right hand side, gets the better of Ederson, who surely has pushed him to the ground there. He had just escaped the booking earlier, and I think he would be surprised if he doesn't go into Istvan Kovac's notebook. He actually, at the very least, it's a corner to Bayer Leverkusen, as Ederson did get his foot in there, and that's all that has been given in the end. I thought maybe it was a foul, but just a corner for Bayer Leverkusen, who, well, the quicker they can get back in this one, the better. In comes delivery from Grimaldo, left footer, is a good one. It's still bobbing around in there. Tala went up, and Ruggeri volleys clear. Not a great one, but it'll do. Anywhere will do sort of job there from Matteo Ruggeri. And it's a throw in the left hand side, midway inside the Atalanta half for Bayer Leverkusen, taken by Ezekiel Palacios, who was caught out somewhat by Ademola Lookman for the first goal, and that's another foul, this time from Zappacosta on Palacios, just on the left touchline. And Atalanta already have their captain Berat Jimsiti and Gianluca Scamacca on a booking, perhaps lucky not to have more. Although when you actually look at the foul stats, Bayer Leverkusen they've suffered 11 fouls. That was a misleading stat I was reading. To Atalanta 7, so Atalanta have conceded more fouls. Now, free kick on the left hand touchline from Grimaldo, left footed delivery, that's poor. Volley clear by Koopmeiners, first man. Xhaka nods it back in, but nobody in white can get there, and De Catalera will head away for Lookman on the left hand side, midway inside his own half. Back to Scalvini on the edge of his own box, the half-time sub. Socks around the shins, Jack Grealish style, plays on forward right footer. It's a good one, nodded down from De Catalera to Lookman on the left hand side. He's got Ruggeri in support, he goes inside to Ederson instead, also with the socks around the shins. Now he brings in Jim City, the Albanian international, the Atalanta captain, Zappacosta on the right hand side, midway inside the Leverkusen half. Lovely skill from Cope Miners to Catalera. Now here's Jim City still trying to go through, but Hincapié beats him to it. But to Catalera comes walloping into Alex Grimaldo there, but concedes a throw in, but gets a round of applause from the Atalanta fans behind that goal. Away by Leverkusen, Adli. Boniface, big strong man, he holds it up for Adli, and now here's Wirtz run through the middle, but Ederson does well, read the situation and comes across to cover and clears only as far as Palacios on halfway, who tries to spin away from Cope Miners but is brought to ground by the Dutch international, and away to go Leverkusen game. Ta in centre circle, to Hincapié to his left, Grimaldo, Adli on the left touchline midway inside Atalanta half. Nice footwork there from Wirtz. Boniface, good challenge from Scalvini. Youngster up against a formidable opponent here in this second half. That's a good start. Oh, it's a bit of midfield bobbling there, and a good bit of challenge from Hincapié to win it back off Scamacca. Now it's Wirtz for Tapsoba, edge of the box here. Edmund Tapsoba, Frimpong, right hand corner of the penalty area now. He's into the box there, faced up by Ruggeri and Scalvini. He's back to Xhaka along the edge of the box. Hincapié, space for Grimaldo, left hand corner of the box, immediately closed down by Zappacosta, but overlapping run from Hincapié and good defensive work from De Catalera. That's a corner to Bayer Leverkusen in front of their fans on the smaller end, but here at the Vivo Stadium behind Juan Musso's goal. Corner taken short between Wirtz and Grimaldo. It's back to Palacios, right or left hand corner of the penalty area. Sorry, Wirtz, another good block this time by Cope Miners, and that one's out for a throw deep in Atalanta territory on the left hand side, which Grimaldo will take, the Spanish international. And Granit Xhaka midway inside the Atalanta half. Pokes one forward for Edmund Tapsoba, right hand side of the penalty area. Looking for Frimpong, he just didn't read it, and Ruggeri is able to see it out for a goal kick. And slightly better from Bayer Leverkusen this second half, but as we've played 10 minutes now, I'd say Xabi Alonso will still be looking more from his side. As you get a look at the Atalanta bench, looks like Mario Pasalic is getting ready, but we also saw Martin de Roon sitting down there, the Dutch international, the Atalanta captain, who limped off in last week's Coppa Italia final defeat to Juventus, and announced earlier on this week that it looked like he wouldn't be able to make it for the final. He's at least made the squad, which I'm sure has been a big boost for them, as Scamacca now is in trouble. He's collided with Palacios, and as I mentioned, the big striker's ready on a booking this seat. It's actually Hincapié, well, I'd say he's overreacted there, Piero Hincapié, I'm sorry. I'm sure it might have hurt a little bit, but he hasn't exactly been caught by a flailing arm, as Leverkusen are claiming there. It's Scamacca, complete with the neck tattoo of the angel's wings. Escape without a second booking, that would have been a very harsh one. Istvan Kovac decided to brandish a second yellow for the former West Ham striker. Here's Grimaldo now on the left hand side on the halfway line. Nice flick on from Adli to Palacios, who far too heavy a pass. Grimaldo was never going to catch that one. It's just those bits of accuracy that normally Bayer Leverkusen are so good. They're just so good at doing the basics. I heard someone say that Bayer Leverkusen under Xabi Alonso have had a no excuses policy. And that's part of it. Here comes that sub. It's Charles de Catalera, who's coming off here on 56 minutes for the Croatian Mario Pasalic. A good outing from the Belgian, who I mentioned earlier, is on loan from Milan. The former Chelsea man, Mario Pasalic, will come and slot in the midfield. I'll try and get a read for how that changes the Atalanta attacking lineup. So far it looks like he might be going into sort of an advanced midfield role, but we shall see. There's Frimpong, now back to Grimaldo on halfway. Palacios in the centre circle, the Wirtz, who has been had a quiet evening by his standards, and he's been out-muscled there with Isaac Hayen, but he sticks with him well and wins it back. Now Frimpong's cross deflected, and Musso prevents the corner. On Musso, all in orange tonight. The Atalanta keeper dives on that one and has a little lie down with it. Good work from Ederson to get in there and get a foot on that one to take the sting out of it and divert it into his goalkeeper's gloves. Atalanta, not only will they win a European trophy the first time in their history as Pasalic concedes a foul on halfway on Palacios, but they will be the first Italian team to ever win the Europa League in its current guise. The last Italian team to win the UEFA Cup as it was then, but Europe's second tier was 1999, that famous Parma team. So no Italian side has won Europe's second tier in the 21st century, quite incredibly. Of course, we had Roma beaten on penalties by Sevilla last year. Inter were beaten finalists back in 2020, but no Italians since Parma in 99, so it'll be double history for Atalanta. Jim City clears, Leverkusen just edging possession here, about 60%. Boniface out of Wirtz, he tries to skip away from Scalvini and has his path blocked by the young half-time replacement. And it's a free kick to Bayer Leverkusen around 30 to 35 yards out. Their supporters are bouncing around the Aviva despite the deficit. They will support their side right until the end. I mean, this season has just been above and beyond their wildest dreams already. Boniface to Wirtz, looking for Boniface again, but it's too hard, although Adli will keep it in and cuts it back. Musso back to Frimpong over the top. Oh, that was a chance for Bayer Leverkusen. The cutback there from Adli was palmed away by Musso into the path of Jeremy Frimpong. And his left foot, he's just leaning back and rushed the volley and put it over the top. And Florian Wirtz and those Leverkusen fans with hands and head and hands, whatever you want to call it, they are beginning to worry a little bit, I think, some of those Leverkusen fans, although I keep mentioning it, you never rule this team out. They are the masters of the late goal. But 1-9 sure would be nice. Lovely ball there from Kovac to get Tapsoba over halfway. Infield to Palacios, and now Xhaka down the left wing there to Adli. Ooh, and he gets away from Zappacosta, who caught him, I think. And that is going to be a free kick, and I think Davide Zappacosta, yep, he's going to get booked there by Istvan Kovac and has an apologetic handshake for Amin Adli. Nothing that Zappacosta could argue about there. Adli just nicked it away from him and mistimed the sliding challenge. Nothing malicious about it, but a certain foul, and at the very least, if not for that foul alone, Zappacosta will have been booked there just for the accumulation of fouls. So Alex Grimaldo over this free kick, along with Florian Wirtz, left hand side around 25 yards out, almost on the touchline. Good delivery from Grimaldo, a good header away though by Scalvini, who has been solid in his 15 minutes since coming off the bench. We've played an hour now in Dublin. It's still Atalanta 2, Bayer Leverkusen 0. This 2024 UEFA Europa League final. Are the boys from Bergamo going to be the first team to stop Bayer Leverkusen this year and stop this invincible treble? Grimaldo, misplaced pass for Adli and well intercepted there by Atalanta. Zappacosta down the right hand side, midway inside his own half, will send one long. Lookman the intended target. He and Xhaka are colliding, and Lookman wanted to foul off a former Arsenal man. He gets one eventually. It was a bit of a late call from the referee, unless he got a word in his ear. As Xhaka complains and Lookman gives him a wry smile as if to say, you know rightly what you've done. So, a free kick to Atalanta just inside the Bayer Leverkusen half, which Giorgio Scalvini will take and just rolls it short to Ederson. He goes back to Isaac Hayen. Cope Miners in the centre circle, almost cut out by Adli, but uses James City, and you have to say Atalanta look comfortable on the ball. They always look, there's options there. Lovely flick from Lookman, and again from Scamacca, and the return from Ederson for Lookman is well read by Tapsoba, but saying Atalanta look comfortable and confident on the ball, and there Jonathan Tah gives up straight to Ederson, the centre circle, who's passed for, well, I'm not sure who that was, but it was far too long anyway. But generally speaking, Leverkusen just have not been at it tonight. Surely can't they, burn out. But keeping an unbeaten streak going like this all season is difficult. Xhaka now under pressure in the edge of the box, and he's giving it away to Pasalic, who slipped at the wrong moment, and then Xhaka is hauled down with Cope Miners midway inside his own half. So the Swiss international escapes there. Nkape. Left footed forward by Xhaka. Nice ball looking for Boniface, but well dealt with by Hayen. Another handball by Isaac Hayen, but the reason he handled it was, according to the referee, he was pushed by Amin Adli. That is indeed the case. So free kick here taken by Berat Jimsiti, the Albanian international, the Atalanta captain. Good header won by Nkape, but a drop for Scamacca, who tries to play in Cope Miners, and he's brought down, is he? Well, he was, but no free kick given, says the referee, and now Leverkusen will break. It's Wirtz over the top, left hand side for Boniface. He's to the back, oh, lovely cut back away from Hayen, but there's nobody in white there, and he gives it straight to Ederson, the edge of the box. Now Xhaka in the centre circle. He's now approaching the box. Granit Xhaka thought about a shot, but plays it to the right corner of the penalty area to Florian Wirtz. Good footwork from Wirtz, that's more like it from him. He dinks him into the back post looking for Grimaldo. Musso goes up and claims it well. Good brave goalkeeping from Juan Musso with Alex Grimaldo bearing down on him. He grabbed it the second time of asking. Wirtz just teasing one into the back post. Pasalic was there, Grimaldo was there, but Musso came out and grabbed it superbly at the second time of asking. Grimaldo, that was a full-blooded challenge from him. Even in with a head, looking for that one. The Bayer Leverkusen fans are, well, let's say they're wanting more from their team. Tonight anyway. This incredible season, maybe tonight just isn't to be their night. However, still plenty of time to go, although Juan Musso is on the ground on his back, feeling the effects of coming bravely to catch that cross. I'm sure he will be troubled plenty more in the last 25 minutes or so. He is back to his feet now, the Argentinian goalkeeper, all in orange. I think we'll be just getting a word there from referee Istvan Kovac just to say not to be wasting any time. He knows if he's up to any tricks. So then we'll get it back on the way, volleying it, side-footed forward. Headed away by Nkape. Cope Miners on halfway, scoops it forward, looking for Scamacca over his head. Well won by Ta, but won by Ederson above Xhaka, but the knockdown from Scamacca is too long for Lookman, but he does get it up instead, or in front of Wirtz, shall I say. Lookman down the left hand side, Ruggeri into the corner, followed by Frimpong in there, and forces him backwards, but keeps old Ederson around 30 yards from goal. Cope Miners, Pasalic, Jimsiti over the top there looking for Scamacca, but Nkape wins it back, but again given away by Bayer Leverkusen, and Zappacosta has it in the right hand corner now, tries to get a cross in, blocked by Palacios, and will spin out for a throw in right in the corner. I think Zappacosta was hoping that one would go out for a corner kick, but we'll take the throw in regardless. Davide Zappacosta. With ball in hand, ready to take that throw. Onto Pasalic and win another throw there off Palacios, just slightly further back. We've got about 25 minutes plus stoppage time to go. It is still Atalanta 2, Bayer Leverkusen 0, thanks to Ademola Lookman's first half double. Bayer Leverkusen not fully at the races so far tonight, but and many times has that been said of them this season, they've come back to do the business. Flicked on here by Pasalic. Volley clear rather unnaturally by Nkape, out for a throw in, nearly lands in the Atalanta dugout. And still on the bench, although Xabi Alonso has played his ace really at half time there with Victor Boniface. Still options on the bench there. Robert Andrich is there, Nathan Tella, Patrick Schick. This side need to step it up here if they are to do step 2 of the unbeaten treble. I said earlier, Atalanta weren't just here to make up the numbers, and there's a foul on Ademola Lookman by Edmund Tapsoba, and he joins his teammate Florian Wirtz in the notebook of Istvan Kovac. Yeah, I mean, take your pick on the foul there. He had his hand on his foot outstretched towards the Nigerian, who has been superb tonight. To say he has been a thorn in Bayer Leverkusen's side is an understatement. Just a wonderful, wonderful performance from the Nigerian international. We're going to see a sub here for Bayer Leverkusen. I mentioned the German international Robert Andrich. He is coming on for Ezequiel Palacios, who, well, it's fair to say, has not had his best evening, nor has this man, Alex Grimaldo, also going off. And Adam Hrozek, the Czech international, is on for him. So that's Andrich and Hrozek on for Palacios and Grimaldo, as we've got about 22 plus stoppage time to go here at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin. Mark Strange here on Flashscore UK duty. Atalanta 2, Bayer Leverkusen 0 in this Europa League final. Now Boniface down the left hand side as Adli sprinting past him here. Victor Boniface cuts in field. Now there's Andrich. Oh, heavy touch initially from the substitute. His first touch was a poor one, but it rolls for Frimpong now. It's back to Andrich midway inside the Atalanta half. Tapsoba. Andrich now Ta in the centre circle. Dean Cape, left hand side, midway inside the Atalanta half for the Ecuadorian. And two between he and Adli, and again Bayer Leverkusen are forced backwards by Atalanta pressure. Here's Ta, the captain. Atalanta trying to come forward there with Lookman, but stopped in his tracks, and now Bayer Leverkusen have themselves a free kick on the right hand side, and eventually I thought he'd escaped again there, but Toon Koopmeiners goes into the referee's notebook for hauling back Florian Wirtz. I mean, if he wanted a shirt he could have waited after the game. He basically ripped it off his shoulder there, Toon Koopmeiners, but the free kick comes to nothing and Musso will clear. Zappacosta brings it down nicely in his chest in the centre circle now to Lookman on the left hand side on halfway. Plays a pass to the far side, which I'm not really sure who it was meant for, but too long for Mario Pasalic anyway from Lookman. Here's Xhaka, midway inside his own half to Wirtz. Andrich, whose performances this season earned him a first German call-up in March, and I've seen him added to Julian Nagelsmann's provisional Euro squad at least, but I think it would be a surprise if he didn't make it to the finals on home soil, which start in less than a month's time. We'll have you covered all the way through the Euros and the big games in the Copa America this summer. It's been a wonderful season of club football, and now we're in for a wonderful summer of international football. We'll have you covered every step of the way here at Flashscore UK, and Atalanta, well, they're a few steps away from European glory for the first time in their history. Zappacosta flicks one on, picked up by Xhaka on halfway on the left hand side. This has not been Bayer Leverkusen's night, but they are not out of this by any means. Andrich, Tapsoba midway inside the Atalanta half, faced up by Ederson and Lookman, so he goes lateral to Xhaka. Now on the left touchline for Adli. Adli looking for Boniface, but straight to Jim City, but Ta beats Scamacca. Now Atalanta are certainly lying deeper and deeper here. Well, it's frustrated Leverkusen so far. Here's Incape into the corner. Wirtz as well. Scalvini and Pasalic are in there, and Scalvini comes away that he's been excellent since coming on at the break. Giorgio Scalvini, now he's away on a run down the right hand side. He looks for Scamacca, but he came to his foul, but it looked more like a slip One Jonathan Tah. Scalvini has been excellent since coming off the bench at half time for the, I think, injured Seb Kolasinac. Here's Frimpong. He runs into trouble, but Andrich has it now. But no, Frimpong has fouled Ederson according to the referee, much to the Dutchman's dismay. He's had a frustrating night, Jeremy Frimpong. Like many in this Leverkusen team that's felt this season like he could do no wrong, but also like many in his team tonight, it has not been his night. And well, the referee not taking any nonsense tonight. I said earlier how he booked Florian Wirtz for complaining, and Robert Andrich is barely off the bench. And he is picking up the card himself for his protest. The referee is Van Kovac, and now the referee's underway. I thought he was running back towards the VAR screen or to speak to somebody. He's running with some purpose, but it was just to get the game back underway. One ball forward, looking for Skamaka again, but he's out-muscled by Tapsoba, and it'll go in the gloves of Mate Kovac, who was well beaten for both goals. Nothing he could do for either of them, but he has been unworked here in the second half. But frustratingly for Bayer Leverkusen, Juan Musso hasn't really been worked too much either. Now here's Wirtz in the centre circle. Clips one over the top for Frimpong. He chests it down at Tapsoba. Back to Wirtz on halfway. Stings one in there to Frimpong, the edge of the box. Now Frimpong to Adli. Oh, blue and black shirts all round him, and they get it clear. A combination of Cope Miners and Pasalic do the damage high up into the Dublin night sky as Xhaka wins the header in midfield. And Boniface, well, Skamaka looked like he just jumped into Boniface there, but no free kick, says the referee. Now Andrich, midway inside the Atalanta half. And for Wirtz, Lookman got in there ahead of him, wants a free kick but doesn't get it. But Atalanta have it with Skamaka here, and Ederson is running down the middle at breakneck speed, but Tah gets there. Ederson was trying to get in between he and Tapsoba, but the Bayer Leverkusen captain with a crucial interception. Now Tapsoba over halfway. But urgency now as we're into the last quarter of an hour here at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin, the 2024 UEFA Europa League final. Mark Strange with you on Flash Score UK. It's Atalanta 2, Bayer Leverkusen 0. Xabi Alonso's men, they're on beaten record, clinging on by a thread here. Pasalic, can Atalanta get a third? Away comes Skamaka, he's outnumbered, but he has Lookman to his left. Pasalic arriving. Skamaka to Lookman, he's on a hat-trick on the edge of the box. Ademola Lookman, left foot shot. Oh, he's got his hat-trick! Ademola Lookman with a hat-trick for Atalanta. He has rifled it high into the roof of the net. What a goal and what a night for Ademola Lookman and Atalanta. The 2024 UEFA Europa League is surely going back to Bergamo. A first ever Italian side to win the Europa League and a first ever European trophy for the boys from Bergamo. And the 2024 UEFA Europa League final will surely now forever be known as the Ademola Lookman final. What a goal! He had no other option there. He took on Tapsoba, he beat him, and a left-footed shot. What a stunner into the far corner from Ademola Lookman. And what a final. A couple of step overs, a bit of pace got him away from Tapsoba, and he could not have picked out a better spot in the corner than that. And it is Atalanta 3, Bayer Leverkusen 0. And surely now the Invincibles have been beaten. Surely now it's glory for La Dea, Giampiero Gasparini, Atalanta and Ademola Lookman. What a virtuoso performance from the Nigerian international. And the Berg fans of Atalanta in the crowd are going utterly ballistic. They are dreaming now. Their dreams have almost come true of a European trophy, a first major trophy since 1963. The vast majority of their fans here tonight in this stadium, if not all of them, have never seen their side lift a major trophy. They were runners-up in the Coppa Italia last week. They don't want to be the bridesmaids again. And they have put Bayer Leverkusen to the sword. Musso, almost caught that outside his box, very close. So close, in fact, that Leverkusen players think he might have taken it out of the box, but no, says the referee. But Ademola Lookman has forever etched his name into Atalanta history books, into Italian football history books, and into Europa League history books. What a night for Ademola Lookman and for Atalanta. His hat-trick has them 3-0 up over Xabi Alonso's men, who surely now have been beaten. It has not been their night, but I said all night, don't rule them out. But now it is going to take a lot for them to win a second European trophy. This is their third final. Back in 1988, when the UEFA Cup was still a two-legged final, they produced an incredible comeback that night. They were 3-0 down from the first leg. They won the second leg 3-0 and then won on penalties. They did that in 90 minutes. They've got about 12 to do it tonight. They're surely not going to do it. This Leverkusen team have done things beyond what anybody would have expected this season. They have done incredible things on an almost weekly basis. If they were to come back and even take this game to extra time now, this would surely be the most incredible night of the lot. But Atalanta, what a night for them. They have stepped up to the plate massively. And Ademola Lookman, my goodness me, what a performance from him. 3 sensational goals as I see Patrick Schick waiting to come on. Is it going to be too late? Pasalic in behind for Scamacca in the penalty area. Back to Zappacosta on the right corner of the box. He lays it off to Ederson, the edge of the box. He's going to have a dig low, but it's an easy save that time for Kovac. He maybe had options there, the Brazilian. He saw his name in lights. But the name that's going to be in lights in Dublin tonight, in Bergamo, all across Europe and all across the world of football is Ademola Lookman. It is Atalanta 3, Bayer Leverkusen 0. It's Ademola Lookman 3, Bayer Leverkusen 0. Here's Frimpong now. Looked like he was fouled there by Ruggeri. I think he was. Indeed, free kick taken quickly. Here's Wirtz. Leverkusen just not at their best tonight, and Atalanta have punished them. Here's Adli, has Klosek in the middle. Adli. Back to Wirtz, who's going to hit one himself, swerving, but easy save for Musso. He'll have those straight down the throat all day, the Argentinian goalkeeper. Atalanta to a man have been excellent tonight. Whatever Giampiero Gasparini's tactics were before this match to stop the Invincibles, it has worked. It's actually Patrick Schick and Nathan Tella both waiting to come on the sideline for Leverkusen. It feels like it might be too late as Incape and Scamacca both go tumbling the ground on the right hand side, and it's actually going to be a free kick to Bayer Leverkusen, and they're not going to be allowed to take it quickly. It's going to be a double sub, and one of those men coming off is Florian Wirtz. 80 minutes tonight, and he has been frustrated from minute one. He has had so many wonderful nights, so many wonderful games this year. The mercurial little midfielder tonight has not been one of them. He's off, as is Jeremy Frimpong, another man who so often this season has pulled off virtuoso performances in the league, Europe and the Cup, but not tonight for the Dutchman. He's off and Nathan Tella is on. So it's Wirtz and Frimpong off for Schick and Tella with what is now 9 minutes of normal time to go, and immediately Nathan Tella comes in with a good tackle on the far touchline, but it's out for a throw in. Matteo Ruggeri will take just inside the Bayer Leverkusen half on the left hand side. Oh, lovely from Ederson. He jinks past Andrich. Now here's Scamacca, 25 yards from goal. He's going to hit one deflected. Ooh, Kovac was there. Could have been nasty for the Czech goalkeeper, but he got plunged down on it well. And well, you can't blame him for any of these goals. Lookman scored 3 wonderful goals. 2 of them absolute rockets from outside the box. The other, wonderful movement. Nobody in a white shirt picked him up. But Bayer Leverkusen, 51 unbeaten. They've set a European record for the most games ever unbeaten. They've set a Bundesliga record. The only team to ever win the Bundesliga unbeaten. To win it their first time so far, to do it in such a way is incredible. They wanted this to be step 2 of 3. They're still heavy favourites for the domestic double on Saturday, but tonight this has not gone their way. There's a cross for Schick that gets deflected wide. He tried a little flick there, but Jim City got in the way and deflects it behind for a corner. The substitute immediately getting involved there. But Xabi Alonso has brought on all the options off his bench, and so far it just hasn't worked for them. Leverkusen will go to Berlin on Saturday to take on second-tier Kaiserslautern in the DFB Pokal final. What will surely be part 2 of a domestic double, but Europe, it's one step too far as a corner comes in and Boniface got the last touch in front of Musso and out for a goal kick as Xabi Alonso stands stoically on the bench, arms folded. We're going to see a double sub here now for Atalanta. And the first man to come off is Gianluca Scamacca. He hasn't got on the goals tonight, the big Italian international, but he has been a threat up front and has perhaps had Leverkusen defenders worried enough that Ademola Lookman has had time to work. So an excellent evening for Scamacca. He's going to be replaced by El Bilal Touré for the last 7 minutes. And the other sub then sees Davide Zappacosta come off. He's had a great evening, set up the first for Lookman and has been up and down the right flank all night, digging a trench up there. He's replaced by another Dutchman here, Hans Hateboer. So that's Hateboer and Touré here on for Zappacosta and Scamacca. Touré immediately throws his weight around there on Ta, but the Leverkusen captain will divert it back to his goalkeeper, all in lime green, Mate Kovac. Chips it forward from the edge of the box. Hateboer with the first touch gets in there in front of Tella. And the ball sent down the line for El Bilal Touré to chase. But again, Ta is going to beat him to it. Ooh, it's a short back pass and Kovac comes out but has to slide it into touch. And Xabi Alonso not happy with something in the sideline. I don't know whether it's the official or his side there, but Ta, dear me, with a criminal back pass there to his goalkeeper that Touré nearly latched onto, but Kovac was able to come out but had to slice his clearance into touch. he's going to get on the field tonight as he was. Amongst the subs tonight, not expected to play, hasn't so far, as we're a minute into 4 added on as a overhit pass out to the right for Nathan Tella. Just about sums up Leverkusen's night, and Toloi is straight over there to take the throw in with his first touch. I say we're a minute into the 4, I'd imagine we'll have a little added on due to that VAR check. Toloi to Ederson, who hooks one forward. We are moments away from Atalanta confirming their place in the history books. I said at the top of the broadcast that Atalanta are the latest side to stand in the way. Leverkusen, Lozek hits one. Rasping drive, it just whistles past the post of Musso. But I said that Atalanta were the latest side to stand in front of the freight train that has been Bayer Leverkusen this year. 51 times before them teams have done it, and 51 times they have failed. But tonight is not to be Leverkusen's night, and those fans, those German fans that have travelled here to Ireland, to the Irish capital, will taste defeat for the first time in over a year. They won't know what to do with themselves, these players and these fans, but they'll have to get themselves back up, because they'll be in Berlin on Saturday evening for the DFB Pokal final against Kaiserslautern. They'll be heavy favourites in that one, and you would think that they will be the cup champions for an incredible domestic double. They'll be hoping this is their only defeat this year, but Atalanta, it's taken until the 22nd of May, the penultimate game of Bayer Leverkusen's season, for them to taste defeat. They just haven't been the normal selves. They haven't been at the races tonight. As Lozek is robbed by Ademola Lookman as we're into the last minute of stoppage time. But what a night from Atalanta. What a night from him. He has been inspired. There's also something just been trod on there by Andrich, who has to be careful on a booking already. But an inspired night from Ademola Lookman. He opened the scoring in 12 minutes, getting on the end of Davide Zappacosta's cutback as the Atalanta bench has already started dancing, as has Giampiero Gasparini. They're not waiting for the final whistle. Zappacosta's cutback, it went behind Hayen and Scamacca, but Lookman got in front of Ezequiel Palacios, who switched off to make it 1-0. But here's Boniface, is it going to be 3-1? He cuts back, no, it's blocked. Back to Lozek, heavy touch, and Ederson clears. That sums up the night. Now Lookman has got space down the left hand side. Surely he's not going for 4. He has Toure and Pasalic in the middle. Happy to keep it out there with Toloi. After that, Lookman has scored 2 stunning goals, and that's us. The referee does only play it to 4, and Atalanta make history. The first major trophy since 1963. Their first ever European trophy. The first Italian side to win the Europa League. The first Italian side to win Europe's second tier this century. And they have beaten the Invincibles. The Invincibles no more, Bayer Leverkusen.